Edition of the Jordy Culotta Show live, driven and powered here by Go Chevrolet. Shout out to our friends at Go, GEAUXChevrolet.com on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Beautiful bike ride on the way in.
Oh, I bet.
Coming up. It was beautiful over the Capitol.
Not a cloud in the sky.
No crime. All good.
No crime. Oh, there was crime somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Brody Miller coming up here at 8:15 this morning.
It's just a federal offense.
From the Athletic is going to give us his vantage point of LSU football over the last couple of weeks as the Tigers pull it into the finish line here of spring football. We'll talk to the athletics insider for LSU, Brody Miller, coming up here at 8:15 this morning. If you got a question for Brody, make sure and jump inside of the YouTube chat app. We'll also talk to Perry Berry, Jacob Berry's dad, the standout for LSU this season, and Perry's got a really cool story as well, as he spent the 1990 season down in Lafayette, part of the Cajun baseball program. He transferred in from Oral Roberts after that program collapsed and spent 1 year in Lafayette and really fell in love with South Louisiana. So we'll get his conversation, talk to him coming up here at 9 a.m. this morning. He's out in Arizona, so it'll be 7 a.m. his time, 9 a.m. over here in South Louisiana. We'll talk to Perry Berry. Yesterday, I know that we talked about having Malik Neighbors on. That was our fault. We had a little communication breakdown. Today at 1:15, Malik's going to come through here after Mic'd Up. So after Mic'd Up wraps up at 1 o'clock, Malik will be sitting in and we'll be talking some spring football and getting some questions answered. So if you got anything for Malik, make sure and put them inside of the chat app. We'll carry that over to our 1:15 programming this afternoon. All of the Culotta Show is always brought to you by True Blue Water every single day, TRUBluewater.com. Get on the delivery route easily just by logging online to TRUBluewater.com. And Papa Earl's official spice, 30% less sodium than the competition. Pick up Papa Earl's anywhere you shop locally, whether it's Rouse's, High Neighbor, Calandro's, anywhere. Pick up Papa Earl's, and if you're trying to take the sodium out of your diet but want to keep the flavor, pick up Papa Earl's today wherever you shop locally. Metropolitan Health Group bringing you our phone line. Brody Miller and Perry Berry right now scheduled coming up. What a night for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yes.
We talked about this team, and Katie and I were offered, shout out to our friend Lance Beal, who is a proud supporter of Mic'd Up and the Mikey Matuk Show. Our lawyer down in Lafayette has offered up a couple of tickets. Katie and David going to be in the blender on Friday night, which feels like it is going to be
electric.
Like
So
Saints
excited.
2013 post Bounty Gate. Like just kind of, place is going to be, I feel like the Dome.
It is going to be
Right?
amazing.
I agree. Once you give Louisiana something to cheer for and
Yep.
something that's worthwhile, they will show up in groves. And them getting that win last night and then being
sealed
able
it.
to go back home, that place is going to be
I
on
know,
tilt.
I know.
It's going to be wild. It is going to be wild. But last night they get an incredible game to win, and it felt like the series has very much shifted. A little bit of the momentum is shifting in the direction and into the favor of the Pelicans here, depending on what happens with Devin Booker. And Booker last night was just, on fire.
He was.
In the first half. He had 31, making all types of shots, dapping up the kids on the sidelines, had all of the experience. It was just everything was going Booker's way. And then come the third quarter, he comes out in street clothes, and it's reported that he's not going to come back into the game. And that was a huge momentum swing for New Orleans. It was an enormous storyline to the game. And then Brandon Ingram.
God, he was on fire.
He went nuclear.
Whose baby?
Man.
Just somebody's baby?
Yeah. So he hits a shot, falls into like the floor seats.
Yeah.
And that baby was just sitting right there, and he turns and
That
looks and just
baby.
dabs him up.
It was great.
But it's the curse of the baby. After that,
Yeah, it was over.
Devin
man.
Booker was never seen again.
And then Brandon Ingram last night was he was the best player on the court.
The baby?
Brandon Ingram.
37 points.
Allowed 37 points. 11 rebounds, 9 assists. I thought last night the complete game on display for Ingram. Even when they tried to double him in the third, he was finding the open guys. And shout out to Trey Murphy. Shout out to Larry Nance. Shout out to Alvarado last night, who was 3 for 3 from the field, 2 of 2 from the 3-point line. I mean,
he is absolute chaos.
They are
court,
knocking down shots. I mean, you've got your superstar Brandon Ingram. C.J. McCollum had nearly a triple double last night, as he had 23, 8, and 9. That was a fun game to watch, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. Stewie, you still hate NBA basketball? Yeah. Yeah, you back in, huh? Yeah, you back in, right? I mean, look, these are the best athletes in the world, giving you everything they got.
Yes.
And the Pelicans now, when you're talking about the momentum of this series and how it's shifting in the favor, first off, you steal home court last night from Phoenix. You come back home to New Orleans. I mean, stepping back and look at it, you need 3 wins. 3 wins to knock out the number 1 seed in the NBA playoffs, and it feels like the Pelicans can do that. First off, they're coming back to their bed. They're coming back home with an extra day rest. The Pelicans, I mean, they played 3 games in 5 days in 3 cities getting into the playoffs. Then you open up against the 1 seed in Phoenix, who's playing on fresh legs, and really give them a good game in game 1 and figure some things out. And then in game 2, they're the better team. Obviously without Booker. I mean, if Booker's not going to be on the floor, the Pelicans are an issue for Phoenix. And you can tell Phoenix knows it, because the player, the person, in my opinion, who made the biggest jump between games 1 and game 2 was actually not a player. It was Willie Green. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, how well coached are the Pelicans, and how just refreshing is it to see Green being able to adjust in this series? I mean, what he did with Jackson Hayes last night really was the difference. We talked a little bit about it here. And look, shout out to Jake Madison at Locked On Pels podcast. If you're looking for some really granular breakdown of watching the Pelicans game, my guy does incredible work as far as, first off, getting the podcast up. I mean, I took a bike ride early this morning, was able to get his podcast, listen in, and get his reaction to last night's game. And he goes into coaching strategy, rotation. I mean, just kind of and his references, because he's been following this team so in depth for so long. I mean, this is his time of the year. This is his time. His podcast is exploding right now. I think it's the top 3 podcasts of the Locked On group, which is everywhere, all over. I mean, if you have not found it, go get it. Locked On Pels podcast by Jake Madison. My guy is doing tremendous work, but he points it out. I mean, the coaching change that he made for Jackson Hayes between games 1 and game 2, Pelicans were struggling offensively in game 1. They couldn't find offense and get going. And a couple of adjustments between games 1 and 2 really kind of opened things up. First off, when they play that pick and pop game with, they had Valanciunas and McCollum running it for the majority of the time, and had Jackson Hayes standing in the corner where, Phoenix they weren't even putting anybody on Hayes, because, you have to have somebody down there that can shoot a 3, that can knock down a shot. Think Klay Thompson, where, Steph and Draymond run pick and roll, and they cover the roll, and they double Steph, and, you got to find a shooter, and Klay's by himself in the corner. That's knocked down every time. If that happens to C.J. McCollum and, Valanciunas, and they throw it to Jackson Hayes, he may hit the side of the goal. He's not going to hit a 3-pointer. But what they did with him last night was take him out of the corner and put him in that put him in that dunk spot where he can throw the lob. And Phoenix didn't have anybody that can guard him. Really. And then on defense, when you extend him out and he's able to cause turnovers and the Pelicans get out and run, that's when they look like the 1 seed and Phoenix looks like the 8, is the third quarter last night. Now, look, Brandon Ingram that's the best game he's ever played in his life. It's the biggest game he's ever played in his life. Now, game 3 on Friday will be the same thing. But the beautiful part about the Pelicans is, for the majority of the roster, this is the feel. This is the biggest game of their lives. Outside of McCollum and, maybe Larry Nance Jr., but, come on. he wasn't making that big of an impact when he was playing in those big games. These are his biggest games, and you can see the impact that Nance has on the team, knocking down shots. Those shots in the locker room or the social media of the Pelicans, and getting those guys like coming in the room and like all the handshakes and like Weatherspoon coming in there, like it is tough not to pull for this team, which is why another reason I think the place is going to be like Mardi Gras feel on Friday night. First off, you got French Quarter Fest going on.
Oh, that's this weekend?
It's happening right now.
Oh, crap. I didn't even know that.
You get the Zurich golf tournament that cranks up on Thursday. Sean Payton was speaking to the media like he does, right? They won Sean Payton won the Celebrity Pro-Am.
He did.
Did he? Well, what else would he be doing?
Beat DeMario Davis.
Oh, little back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you
says
again.
he never heard of the Brady Miami Dolphin.
that
Never heard of it.
guy.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
never heard of it.
like I've told you guys all along, if I'd have been coaching, I'd have been here next year. Thank you, Sean. All right. But it was great to see the coach and him talking and kind of catching up with the media, and congratulations on winning the tournament. But like we were saying, I mean, like Friday night for Ingram, for Hayes, for Valanciunas, for all of these guys, for Herb Jones, for Alvarado, for Larry Nance Jr. I mean, this is the biggest game of their life. Really. I mean, this is the biggest stage that they've played on. And that was another thing last night. I mean, the Pelicans and the Suns, they were the game last night. I mean, people were staying awake and watching that game. And for Brandon Ingram to come out and be superstar like he was last night, good on him, man. Because that was a hell of a performance on an enormous stage. And the Pelicans feel like a team that, they're here to kind of stay. I mean, like you have this nucleus, you've got these stars, and you've got this young coach. I mean, like the Willie Green, just ability to coach in the game, the adjustments that he's made between games 1 and game 2, ability to recognize personnel. I mean, even the way that like he used Jackson Hayes last night. I mean, 20 minutes, the production that you got from Hayes. I mean, he kind of knows where and when to get him in and out of the game. He really knows his team. I mean, look at this locker room.
I know.
That's
That's not happening in every winning locker room in the NBA. I mean, there's a lot of high fives and a lot of people that are fired up, but not everybody really likes each other. I mean, when you get to the professional stage, it's different than the college locker room. Everybody doesn't hang out with one another. I mean, these guys are around, they're around the same age. They have a lot of the same interest. You can tell they really like each other. I mean, it's just...
And I think that all kind of started when C.J. McCollum joined the team.
It
felt like that he kind of just brought them together.
You could see the pieces in place, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I'm just talking about chemistry-wise.
I mean, the way that Herb Jones, Alvarado, and I mean, even Murphy, their first-round pick, I mean, the way that they've stepped up in their moments, I mean, those are all rookies, knock down shots like they have. I mean, it's just like, wow, I mean, the future is bright, and it is. And I know that this storyline is, but, I mean, they're continuing to talk a little bit about it from a national standpoint. It's just so confusing on why Zion's not there. He's there, but not on the floor playing. I mean, if he can go, man, get him in there.
Would you at this point?
I don't know.
That's
No.
what's
I don't
crazy.
know.
Because, as you said, you just saw the locker room.
But I mean,
the chemistry is
I
on point.
know,
You
but I
insert
mean,
a guy I know.
He's there, and he's there every day. He's practicing with the team. He's around the team in the games and in the locker room. It's not as if you're taking a traded piece and trying to throw him into a winner. Mm-hmm. This is somebody that they're familiar with. They see playing. They understand that he makes them a better basketball team. And, from where he is, I mean, you're not going to ask him to play 20 minutes. What's he going to play, 6 to 8 minutes? If he comes back.
Friday night could be the night.
So, maybe,
I hope so. I will die.
That would be a seminal moment for
Oh
you.
my
That's something
God.
you'd remember forever. That place would go
I know.
bonkers.
It would.
But you talked about the rookies, and that's what has kind of kept them in the game. Whenever you're an NBA team like this, you don't expect those contributions in an away arena. That's what kind of kept the Pelicans interesting and kept them able to stay afloat whenever Booker was going nuts. Willie Green has so much confidence in rookies. He throws them out there, and they don't blink, dude. They shoot whenever they're open. Mm-hmm. They play basketball. The moment's not too big for them. Usually you see role players stand out in home games. You're like, okay, I feel comfortable here. That's not the case for these guys. They've been playing all year, but for them to not shrink in the moment has been incredible. And to take one from a 1 seed and be able to go home 1-1 and then get on your home floor, Phoenix has got to be feeling some type of way.
Oh, they're tight. They're tight. You know, I mean, you can feel that they're tight in – They have some things that you can make all the adjustments you want, but you can't match up with. When the Pelicans get out and run, like they were in the third quarter, in the second half, there's nothing that Phoenix can do about it. I mean, just from a personnel standpoint, because I mean, Jackson Hayes, he's a freak of an athlete.
Oh yeah,
like his dad was a big tight end in the NFL, Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
Went to the Super Bowl in those teams with like Boomer Esiason.
I didn't know that.
Played a long time in the NFL, and I believe was a long time NFL tight ends coach, and coached Tony Gonzalez with the Kansas City Chiefs. So like a bloodline, and Jackson Hayes all the way up until I believe sophomore or junior in high school was set to play football. Like he was a football player, and look at the way that guy runs. And one of the things that Jake, again, Madison points out on his podcast and Locked On Pels podcast, I encourage you to go listen to that if you are looking for, a real gritty breakdown of the Pelicans from somebody who's been around them, knows them, and the content's great. And the best thing about the content is that it's reliable. I mean, it's there every day. And right now, obviously, with the buzz around the Pelicans, it's a hell of a product. And Jake is putting out incredible work. And like he points out, one of the things that playing Jackson Hayes in that corner spot kind of limits or takes away from the Pelicans is his rebounding capability on the offensive side. I mean, you saw it last night. I mean, he was gobbling up offensive rebounds. And, with his ability to go back up, his athleticism, that's the hand-eye coordination, playing football around the rim, being able to kind of catch. And, he's big time, man. I mean, when there's a couple of like fast break scenarios last night where he covers LeBron type floor space.
Didn't even have to dribble.
It takes him like three steps to get foul line to foul line. And if he gets to the foul line, he's putting it on your head. Like he is hunting people's head. And I mean, they're tough. I mean, 16 fast break points last night compared to, I believe, 7 for Phoenix, 8 for Phoenix.
Well, Chris Paul can't play that game. He can't can't run with him like that for that long. And when you saw it kind of blow. It never really got wide open, but you could see when the Pelicans started to push the gas pedal down. Phoenix was flummoxed. They're like, what are they doing?
That's what I'm telling you. Like, that's when it looks like New Orleans is the 1,
right?
And Phoenix
they were
is
getting
the 8
easy buckets.
Because Phoenix is like they can call timeout, they can sub in and out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do. If the Pelicans are in that groove, there's not much that Phoenix can do about it. And I don't know if in watching the playoffs, I don't know if there's too many teams out there that could really match up with them. I mean, I'm looking at this Miami-Atlanta series.
See Jimmy Butler last night?
Yeah, Jimmy Butler looks great. I mean,
points.
he bounced back. And look, Miami, they're shooting the eyes out of it. And if they keep it up, they're going to the finals. If they shoot it like this, they're not going to get beat. But the Atlanta team is a little different. I mean, maybe Milwaukee, is it in this extreme matchup?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking at teams that can match up when New Orleans is running like that and when they're just out spreading the floor, taking advantage of the spacing. Golden State, for sure.
And Willie Green came from that staff.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
And you could see kind of his, some of the imprints on what the Pelicans do and what he got from Golden State and what he got from the Suns. Like, he's been to both places, and he's kind of put his own little twist on those two teams on the Pelicans. He's done a fantastic job. The turnaround from 1 year to the next has been unbelievable. Yeah. Stan Van Gundy wasn't even playing Jackson Hayes. He sat on the bench all year.
Right. We just didn't know what to do. He's almost like that guy.
He's like JaVale McGee a little bit.
He's like Kendall Beckwith. He's like these guys. He's like you just saw, John Trey Kirkland. You know what I mean? He's like Jacoby Stevens. You're just like, this guy's a freak. I just don't know where to put him. Is he a wide receiver? Is he a DB? Is he a tight end? You don't know what, I mean, I don't know. Put him out
there, though.
You know what I mean? Like, let him go make mistakes. And I mean, look, Jackson Hayes still has mistakes to make.
Absolutely.
He's gone through some rookie and early. He's not a rookie, but in his rookie campaign, went through some growing pains. But you can see the just uber potential of the guy in just his true blessed athleticism. I mean, just, rolls out of bed with that type of jumping, running, hand-eye coordination and ability to, I mean, that block.
After he got blocked, he sprints down the court. Oh,
makes the sprint down the court, pins it on the glass, just like, I love this guy. You know what I mean? Like, just big-time athlete, just a matchup problem in the NBA. And that's tough to say. I mean, when you're a matchup problem in that league at this time of the year, you are an elite athlete. And right now, Jackson Hayes is showing off, really. So Phoenix will fly in to New Orleans, travel day here today, coming back down to South Louisiana. And the game 3 will be Friday night. As we said, expect the Smoothie King Center. Katie and David will be in there with our friend Lance Beal. And I'd imagine there won't be an open seat in the house.
No, surely not.
Inside the blender as they get ready and prepared for playoff basketball, in which what feels like New Orleans has got the momentum. Is there a spread on that game yet? Is there an early line, Stewie? See if we can't find a number on that game in what's opened up at Phoenix and New Orleans in Game 3. Obviously, a lot pending on what happens with Devin Booker on whether or not he's going to be available. But Booker did look very down on the bench last night, almost as if like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come back. And then Monty Williams was pressed after the game on Booker's status, and there was nothing to report. Like they were like waiting to get back some type of test results on where he stood. And then I guess, just kind of how physically Booker's going to feel going in. But I mean, to take yourself out, or to however that decision was made last night to come out of that game when you're playing like he was. I mean, he was unconscious.
31 points.
And he wasn't even like moving the net. His shot is like Jesus Shuttlesworth. I mean, it's like Ray Allen. It's like, who's the best jump shooter in the league? Who's got the best jump shot?
Probably Klay Thompson.
That you've ever seen. Klay Thompson's
just
got
from
just a form.
Gorgeous, yes.
Yeah, like this is just what it's supposed to look like. I mean, Larry Bird was a great shooter, but he had bad form. But I mean, you look at the way that Devin Booker just shoots a basketball, and you're like, damn, it ain't that easy.
And every time he lets it go, you're like, that's going in. Yeah. It just looks good.
And it doesn't even move the net.
No.
I mean, it just.
And he was on pace for one of those nights where you talk about Jimmy Butler.
He might have gotten 60.
He might have, yeah, that's what they were saying at the break. They're like, well, he could go off for 30 because Shaq was like, well, he won't be able to keep this up. Like, well, he's done it before. And he was on pace for one of those nights, especially after you make a shot like that at half, kind of run into the locker room, like, all right, we're not letting them take a game from us at home. And I don't know when it happened or what happened. It was his left hamstring.
Yeah,
I don't know when he could have gotten hurt.
They said that when he made a defensive play, he leapt and made a defensive, like tried to make a block on a fast break, and it looked as if he was. I thought it was the shot that he hit in the corner, and when he laid down on the ground, he wasn't getting up, but he was down there dapping the kid up.
The baby.
That supreme
passed
baby.
Passed it over.
What a great picture.
What a great picture.
I know, that was cute.
Put it in the Louvre.
What about their unis? Did y'all like those?
The Valley?
Yeah.
I love the Valley.
Lot.
Is that the black? That was the black ones.
Yeah, the black ones.
Valley
They're kind of copying like the Denver Nuggets. Whenever they had like the really cool ones with the rainbow and the skyline.
Yeah.
It's okay. Chris Paul looks like an intramural player in him.
He does.
He's got bad body.
He does. Well, he's old, bro.
I'm just saying he's still good, but I'm saying he just looks funny in the uniform.
Standing next to Jackson Hayes.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do here? Remember, Daly, we're.
See, you got the line.
Yeah, he did get hurt. Whenever he went for that block on the fast break, you could see him. He came up and went straight to the bench and like.
And this is an injury that he's battled before. He's missed some action early in the season.
It was a different leg.
Yeah, I think it's the other leg.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He'll be fine.
You hate to. I mean, look. You never pull
He'll
for
be
injury.
there Friday.
You never pull for injury. Right. No pun intended. But you never want injury. But Devin
sometimes you need
Booker's
one.
status is enormous to what what this series is going to look and feel like, man.
Yeah.
Talk about two teams on the polar opposite ends of the spectrum, like where the Pelicans are this morning,
And
where
like
the
Zion's
Suns are.
available.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
Keep crazy.
coming.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, that's gonna be an awesome. That's gonna be an awesome moment. That's
Remember,
great.
Daily, we're brought to you by Edward Jones. Our friends over at Edward Jones, Daniel Newman. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com is where you can find him. If you're looking to get some fiscal advice, if you're looking for financial advice, get in touch with Daniel Newman. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com, located in central Louisiana. He is out there at Market Square Place and right across from Stabs. And remember, if you work in the plant industry, if you work within Dow, BASF, Exxon, any of the groups here in South Louisiana, you can get expert advice from Daniel. He's got a long list of clients that he has advised that has gotten tremendous return out of that industry just because he knows what he's looking at. He knows how to advise you there. 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262 is how you get in touch with our friend directly, Daniel Newman. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. So if you got a mailbag question too today, we're taking your mailbag questions. Jump inside of the chat and hashtag mailbag us as we will get them read and answered here coming up in the next couple of minutes. And it looks like our second hour is going to be a lot of guests. Brody Miller is going to be here talking some spring football and talking some LSU as they come down the stretch here. Last week of spring drills. They will play the spring game on Saturday. We'll be out there covering it. Final spring practice tomorrow, right? Open to the public, as it has been a pretty quick
It has been
spring
quick.
practice.
What happens after the spring game?
Then it's the off
Do they
season.
just get like a break?
They get off until June 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not a big break.
But not
like
really
a month
off.
break.
Yeah, not really off. And
Or
then
just
June
working
Take it
1st.
off.
out and everything.
Then when June 1st comes,
Yeah,
no more
let's
breaks.
keep a
Yeah.
chart of who's taking off.
Especially with Brian Kelly running the
Oh
show.
my God.
I think y'all should
It's
probably
vol-
stay around the building.
Right?
It's always voluntary
scared.
workouts.
Yeah.
Voluntary.
Yeah.
Mandatory.
Right.
I'm scared of
Be
him.
there.
Brian Kelly.
Yeah. I think he's scary. Good.
What?
Scary.
Just the
like
resting bitch face.
That also. I just think he's not somebody I think you'd want to go against or disappoint. I wouldn't want
No.
to disappoint him.
I mean, early Brian Kelly blow
Quick
up
to anger.
Yes.
Credit to him because I think it was almost trending to a path and down a feel where it was like, dude, I don't know if people in the living room are going to really trust you anymore if
Right.
you keep showing this type of like boiling anger at kids. You know, like,
Right, because you can go into the living room and be
it's
as
obvious
presentable
you
as
know
you
what
want.
you're doing.
You're right.
You know, like it's obvious that you know what you're doing, but
Cool
take
out.
it down a couple of notches.
Yeah, it's
But we
okay.
went from like the dancing and the accent and all the funny stuff to like everybody thought he was fun. Everybody's having a good time, and now everybody's scared to death of him. I feel like
I don't feel that.
you don't.
I don't feel that.
Okay. I feel like
I
playtime
don't.
is over
I don't
for
feel
him.
the fear. But yes, no. I definitely think that there is. But that's what LSU needed.
Yeah.
You know.
For sure.
I mean, really and truly, I don't think after you read the Dellinger article, and we talked about this yesterday, you can go back and check out what we said. Remember, everything's brought to you by R&B Builders. But, I mean, he hadn't coached a game yet. So, I mean, for where they are right now in the process of, totally redesigning the structure of LSU football from a back office standpoint, from not like renaming departments, but just aligning and structuring departments, like giving people protocols and procedures of if this happens, this is who you need to talk to. Or, this is the workflow of how things are going to operate. Here's the personnel that you need to talk to. You're not just going to talk to this person about everything.
right.
Right? And I think, for what they need to do or needed to have done, Kelly, fits almost perfectly for what they need.
Structure.
Right? Because, I mean, immediately when he was hired, I said this because it was my first reaction. I think Brian Kelly fits into a class of football coaches that is very limited in, kind of in the people that occupy it. I mean, he feels like Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. Now, he doesn't have the championships and he doesn't have the accolades and the wins, but his accomplishments outside of that, what he has kind of done at all of his stops Grand Valley, Grand Prairie, or where he was, Central Michigan before Central Michigan, Notre Dame. He's always restored kind of the flow, and he's won. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's really missing off of his resume is a national championship. And I think, if you read the piece like we talked about with Dellinger yesterday,
Cincinnati, is that what you're looking for?
Grand Valley State is what I was looking for. And then of course, since he spent a year at Central, he spent 2004 to 2006 at Central Michigan before going to Cincinnati, and then becoming Notre Dame's most winningest coach. I mean, I think that's something in a lot of, dinner parties that'll go a long way. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much it means down here in the SEC, but at one time that carried a hell of a tagline, man.
It really did.
And it probably, and it still does. I don't want to discount that as far as what college football goes, but
if you said it in the early 2000s or whatever, whenever Notre Dame was popular, I guess, late 80s or then that's a real.
And there's a part of the country,
statement.
and there's a part of the country that still
thinks
gets
that
off
way.
to that.
Absolutely. That part of the country.
South Bend.
Sure, Chicago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All up in there.
Yeah.
All up in there.
But
but
Brian Kelly, I think, and again, we talked a lot about this yesterday. I just think that he is exactly what LSU needed. Right now. I think up to this point.
Yeah.
Up to this point, I think that he passes a lot of the tests. Now, obviously we're not there every day, and we don't have the standard. But it looks like and more than anything, I think more than anything that we can go out there and watch on the practice field, watch personnel, watch the coaching staff, watch Brian Kelly. I think the most that you can take away from the changes that have been made is listen to the players. Mm-hmm. Listen to what the players have to say. And again, 1:15 today, Malik Neighbors will be in the studio.
And he'll say the same thing every player that sat here says.
You would assume so, because look, Malik has had an incredible spring, man. I think that there has been one player that has felt like, man, this cat's going to carry it over from spring to fall and really going to jump out and be a problem for a lot of teams. It's Malik Neighbors. He's playing with a confidence and an air to him right now that feels, very Kayshawn-ish. Like throw me the ball.
Yeah, open.
When Kayshawn gets in that mood where it's just like, you can double me.
Don't matter.
Just throw it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to come down with it.
Is Kayshawn going to be in that mood again?
I think so.
We hope so.
I think we were a little hard on Kayshawn yesterday.
Do you?
Well, I think everybody's being hard on Kayshawn. It's not just us.
And I think that's an easy narrative. Mm-hmm. I think it's an easy narrative right now. Let's not forget, a cat is
special.
He's top 10 pick type special. So I think it's easy to pile on right now. And you want to bet on him, I think, rather than against him.
Bet.
Huh?
Bet.
Yeah. In. Huh?
Bet. Get it done.
Yeah. Bet. Get it done.
Bet. Get it done. Remember, daily we're brought to you. We have our Southern Eye Poll Center. Our Southern Eye Center poll question of the day is up right now. Is it based around Zion?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you play Zion if he was available?
I vote yes.
Hell yes.
I vote yes.
Well,
Who's voting no? 38% of y'all are voting no. Why?
I think that there is. I think that there is an open discussion and argument.
Yeah, people
that
are over
feels
it.
like the chemistry could be because the Pelicans, they flow and play so well together. Mm-hmm. But again, I think 6 to 8 minutes, 10 minutes of Zion a night, if he's available and they want to play him, man. Jeez. It's scary to think about if he was on the team, bro.
I know.
Like,
can you imagine?
Forget all the chemistry questions. If he'd have been inserted back into the lineup 6 weeks ago, a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and he kind of had his sea legs under him by this point. It really is kind of like, how good would they be?
Especially with the way that they started.
How good would they be if Zion's out there? Who is going to guard Zion, Brandon Ingram? Now you got to worry about Jackson Hayes if he comes in the game. CJ McCollum, Valanciunas is a problem. They're an issue. Mm-hmm. The Pelicans are a problem for a lot of teams. And this is without Zion right now. But it's frustrating to think about how good they'd be with him.
I don't even know what to compare it to. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anything where you have such a star, a legitimate superstar, because you've seen him play, and when he does play, he changes the game. He is an absolute – he was supposed to be – he's obviously the number one pick for a reason, but he was going to be tabbed as the next superstar in the NBA. And for him to just not be available is unbelievable. It's so bizarre, especially when he seems like he wants to play. Mm-hmm. Ownership doesn't want him to play, and now we're just here with him on the bench.
Yep.
It's weird.
It's weird. I don't even know. Like I said, I don't even know. I've never seen a similar situation to this.
Never. No,
he knows.
It is incomparable. There's nothing in sports that you can look at and say, you've got your number one pick under contract of his rookie deal.
Seemingly healthy.
He looks and feels like he's saying he's healthy. He wants to play. But he can't get on the floor. Like, he's not even dressing out. It's.
Well, he gets to he dresses out, and then they make him change and go get into street clothes. Because he warms up. He practices before the game, like he's in the layup line.
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
It's so weird.
It's weird.
And if you're Zion, it's not like you'd want to leave this team now. I could understand if they stunk.
Right.
But look at what they're doing. How would you not want to be a part of it? If you hop on now, it's fine if you weren't available earlier.
Yeah.
But the momentum in the city is on such a high that you could do no wrong if you came back now. Nobody would be like, hey, get off the bandwagon. You didn't want to be here when we were down or whatever. But now you can just, if you would insert him now, it would be just like a shot in the arm. It would be unbelievable TV.
I think he plays Friday.
Oh, be awesome.
Just for a little bit.
And because of the way he plays, I think he could slide in and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like,
I know,
just run the
that's
break,
the
kind of do your thing, and then get back, and then get out.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. Flock it.
Flock up. All right, we're going to talk to Brody Miller about some more LSU football coming up here. We didn't mention that LSU picked up a transfer cornerback yesterday, all-name team.
All-name team.
Sevyn Banks. Do you give him 7?
No.
Can't.
No.
I love that name. The
It
spelling
is,
of it.
Yeah, it's Sevyn.
And he's got the 7 chain. He really plays into it. Just wrong school.
I know.
Yeah.
Any other school, we'd toss it to you.
Great social media commitment.
Yes.
Great picture.
He popped that shirt off real quick.
Yeah.
I don't
No, he's a
blame
no-shirt guy.
Yeah,
I don't blame him either. I don't blame him either. But we'll see here, man. Injury, battled some injury coming from Columbus. It seems like a player went on the field. Just has not been on the field a lot for Ohio State, as he is the latest to land at LSU out of the transfer portal. I mean, my goodness, man, they have done some work in the transfer portal.
Do you think that they add him if who's your guy Converse doesn't get hurt?
No, I don't. I think that yes, I do. As we said yesterday, I think the pecking order has always been defensive back somewhere in the puzzle, like somewhere in the mix. DB has always been a huge area of concern and need for LSU. So anytime you had access to a player like Banks, I think you always
extend the branch.
Would accept the offer, you know what I mean, or accept the commitment. So big one. We'll talk to Brody Miller about what it means here for LSU coming up here at 8:15 this morning. If you have a specific LSU football question for Brody Miller, just hashtag AskBrody, and we will get it asked and answered here coming up at 8:15 this morning. Then Perry Berry will stop by here at 9 a.m. this morning, and we'll talk to him about his son Jacob and LSU, as last night the Tigers get a win over Lafayette as they defeated the Cajuns 8-4 last night. LSU now 24-12 on the season. LSU going to be back in action against Missouri coming up on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 3-game set coming up in the box. Ty Floyd last night earned the win with 8 strikeouts. Didn't walk anybody. 4 hits, 2 runs for LSU last night. A barrage of home runs in this one early to start off on both sides, as both LSU and Lafayette were knocking the ball outside of the park early on, but LSU was able to hang on 8-4 in the win last night. Berry 0 for 4 last night, but still batting .354 in the season. We'll talk to his dad, Perry Berry.
That's awesome.
A former Cajun.
Still hitting over .350, 0 for 4. Sorry, guys.
Just one of those nights.
Missouri Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Is it a Thursday series? Jordan Thompson last night had one of the knocks. He was 2 for 4 last night. It was good to see Thompson have some success last night after some of the things that he struggled with this season. Dylan Cruz was 1 for 5 last night for LSU as the Tigers were able to
combined 1 for 8 from your two big
superstars.
Boppers. And
Trey Morgan went deep.
Yeah, saw that.
Morgan was 1 for 4 last night as his one knock was a 2-run home run that knocked in Cade Doty as well. So LSU was able to win the game 8-4, and as we said, improve on the season to what was the stat? 24-12 on the year. So Missouri coming in for a 3-game set.
How's Missouri?
I don't think they're any good.
Missouri.
I don't think they're good either. It should be. I'm not going to say a sweep, but 2 out of 3 for sure.
Okay.
Got to save a little bit of your bullpen last night. Reiselman came in, threw absolute gas, and got pretty much put that thing away.
Did he tap his toe the whole time?
Man.
He did. Ronnie Rance was trying to break down the toe taps. It was a very good color commentary. It's like, when he does it 4 times, 3 times, and then he was trying to figure out some sort of algorithm to it. And Ronnie just talks. It's
he
great.
does. I think
him and Lynn are great.
The local crews that LSU gets
together,
for the calls,
they're great together.
Lynn and Ben McDonald are phenomenal.
Yeah.
But Lynn and Rance are great. I mean, I think Rance in any scenario in that scenario he eats that up.
I don't know if Lynn knows that he's fucking with him the whole time. I don't
know
if Lynn knows.
I believe he does. I kind of think that Lynn,
plays
in his
into
own
it?
way, gives it back to Ronnie. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think that I've seen them work like in a high school setting where, Lynn will deliver his line with a smirk where you're like, okay.
Little repartee.
Yes. Lenny gets it. You know what I mean?
If you crack that door for Ronnie, he will kick it down.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why Ronnie plays so well, in my opinion, off of Lynn, is because Lynn knows the game.
Yep.
Like he knows what's going on. He knows how to set Ronnie up, and he can take all of what Ronnie feeds him. You know, like he doesn't. It's an easy drive home for Lynn.
Right.
I mean,
I'm never thinking about
it's all
this
good,
again.
man. It's all good.
Which Ronnie would be shocked by.
Right.
I got him.
But they're great.
What you said, dude.
They're great. They're a great local team. I'm with you. I had them turned up last night and caught myself kind of laughing and listening to Ronnie a little bit for sure. Make sure to hit that like button and share button if you don't mind for us. The comment button if you want to jump inside. We got some mailbag questions, Stu, if you want to look those up, top of the document, and start feeding them to us. Remember, daily over here, we are brought to you by Relief Med. Happy 420.
Happy 420, boys.
To everybody here. Maybe maybe a little surprised to see us working today on this national holiday, but we
had to take off Good Friday, for Christ's sake. Can't get 420 off.
We will continue to recognize the day at Relief Med. If you want to get over there and check it out, RELEAF Med.com. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy1 to save your 20% from your initial purchase over there. But this is medical marijuana in the state of Louisiana that we will let you get in on if you use the promo code Jordy1. Odds are you fit a description that can get you medically recommended to the state to pick up your
Make sure you text your doctor at 1:55 in the morning.
If you tap your Sheesh.
What's up, plug?
The Gen X crowd.
I'm a doctor. You can try to swing through after the bar.
Tell it. So we have a doctor who we work with directly over at Relief Med that helps us out. Yeah, I say helps us out. Doesn't help us out. He
does his job.
He's our doctor, and he treats all of us here. And one of our employees over here, Ronnie Riggs, asked for the doctor's number one time. It's a very, I say easy process. It's a simple process, man. I mean, you talk to the doctor one-on-one. You fill out a questionnaire, you answer a couple of questions, you get the recommendation, you kind of move on down the line.
You don't develop a personal relationship with this person.
And Ron, at 2 a.m. on Thursday night, sent the doctor a text message wanting to know the status of
his order.
Of his recommendation, of his order. And the doc screenshot it back and was like, who the fuck do you have dealing with me, man? It's like, who do these guys think I am? Their local dealer?
Oh, I thought you could swing through after the bar?
Right. Sending a 2 a.m. text message to the doctor wanting to know if he can swing through and pick up his package.
Shit, I mean, it can't hurt to
Typical
ask.
Ron, right. But if you want to get your recommendation today, it's easy to do by logging online, ReliefMed, RELEAFmed.com, RELEAFmed.com, to pick up your prescription recommendation today from the state of Louisiana as you can celebrate 420.
How busy do you think that place will be today?
Oh my God,
buzzing. Because if you don't really know, if you're new to the game, like this is not the day to go. Like you should be prepared.
I'm here to fill my prescription.
Oh, are you? I'm a first time.
Pull a number.
Yeah.
There will be no parking over there.
No.
There's never parking.
No, the
There will be
parking is a
none.
huge issue.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's the go-to? Do you think in Baton Rouge for a 420? Because it's a lot of people that don't normally partake that are now partaking, and so they're going to want to do like in college on 420 Cold Stone Creamery. The line was out the
Are you
door.
serious?
Yes, because there's a lot of people that don't ever really smoke.
Yeah.
So it's like college girls. They're like, oh, I want ice cream.
Yeah.
And it's like you and everybody else in the town, sister. And
Great 420 special
Yeah,
day.
it is. But it was all the way wrapped around the back. Oh yeah.
What
What
about
a
that
nightmare
new
for those
place,
people.
That Munchie place. Mikey ordered lunch from there one day.
Oh,
and it has,
Chiba Hut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mikey
right?
should buy stock in that place.
Chiba Hut's fire too.
Really?
It's
I
good.
haven't tried
Looks
it.
fire.
Yeah.
Great vibes too.
Great vibes.
Yeah.
Look great
I
vibes.
went in there one day. They had like a DJ playing.
Really?
I was like,
That's the place today.
Best 420 bar in the area, in my opinion, used to be a diamond. Now has been sniffed out by the developers. Is over on Nicholson. That used to back up to the train tracks that would cross you over to the River Road. It's the Rasta Bar right here. It's painted. The outside is painted, and it has pool tables inside and a jukebox.
It's still there?
It's still there. It's fighting the fight, bro.
Let's go.
It's
Today's
got
the
a-
day.
It's got I don't know the name of it. It's got
You
Rasta.
can only find it when you smoke.
No. You can eat it.
Go
if
smoke and find
If you
it.
drove
Drive.
and found it,
Take a ride.
if you drove and found it, you would be like, "Holy shit! I've been looking at this my whole life."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's been
Really?
here the entire time. But when I was like 16 years old, 17 years old, I had a summer job cutting down trees with the guy that owns Beauvoir Park now, Leslie Bratton. And we were in between jobs, and he took me in there, and we grabbed a beer in between jobs because we
Red
were
Stripe?
running a little early. Red Stripes, bro.
Is it called Culture?
It is
Reggae
called
bar?
Culture.
Okay.
Culture Reggae Bar. That is it. And a just diamond of a dive in Baton Rouge. That's what I was walking around Nashville saying. I mean, like, what a cool place that you can kind of just walk the streets and find a new place every time you go out. And from Baton Rouge's standpoint, they don't have shit like that. But Culture is a great spot. It was a great spot. Now it's like, swallowed up by office buildings and, apartment complexes.
Well, it says they have tacos, music, and shopping at this place. They
They've-
did it right up in
what more could
December.
you
They've
need?
evolved since the last time I've been there.
Yeah.
A little pivot.
Interesting. But yeah, it does say they still have DJs.
Yes, I'm telling you. 420 friendly
That's
as well.
interesting.
yeah, I've passed this place multiple times.
Oh, you've
Like,
passed it your entire
know.
life, bro. I'm telling you. Like
so
you've
cool.
probably, some people have like driven like right past it to get over the tracks.
Yeah.
What's that apartment complex right there now? I mean, it's gated. It's like next to the Baton Rouge water facility.
I think it's called the District, maybe.
That's right. It sounds like it's,
River House, Baton Rouge.
that's it.
This looks so. I feel like we should go. Like a.
No, it's a
field
great
trip.
spot. I'm telling you,
Field
it
trip.
is a
How old are we, Katie?
it is a great spot.
Who's chaperoning?
Me.
Look at this place.
That's
I mean,
it.
If you can't have fun in
Fun.
there.
That's it. I mean,
This
look at
guy-
the Jamaican flags flying,
This
bro.
guy is turned.
Yes.
2 in the
It
afternoon.
looks like Rohan. Doesn't he look like
God,
Rohan?
that'd be amazing if it was.
That's his
Oh
people.
my gosh.
It's
how
a great
fun.
spot, man. I'm telling you. Shout out to the culture.
Yeah, we gotta try
Um,
it. I gotta try it. Have you ever been?
Yes.
In there and hung out? Okay.
Yeah. One of my first places, like we went in as a, and hopefully the statute of limitations is passed on this, but I mean, like we went in as a minor. I did. And it was one of those places like back in the day, like they were like, yeah, sit down, man. What do you want?
Yeah. Sit down, man.
Yeah, right.
Rico's calling us posers. He didn't think we're the real deal.
Cool.
Rico, you'll have your pants on backwards if you come over here and try to play that game.
Tuck you in, Rico.
Yeah. You'll wake up on Friday. Like a
Rico,
neighbor across the street.
We've extended the invitation multiple times, bro.
We have.
I mean, I don't know how real we can be. If there's one person in this relationship that feels like a fraud, that feels like a poser, that feels fake, it would be you, little man. Right? I mean,
just ask Billy and Buddy.
Yeah. I mean, send us your email. Let's video call and celebrate 420 together. I mean, how many invitations must we? How many olive branches must we put out for you to dodge and dip away from?
He's got so much hate in his heart. You got hate in your heart. Let it out.
Yeah, man. Talk to somebody.
Relief med. There's a doctor. We
meet
can
us
put you
in
in
Culture.
touch with. Yes. Meet us at Culture.
Meet us at Culture.
That would be awesome. Please meet us at Culture, Rico.
Yeah, it would be a great little icebreaker. Little first date.
Hey, man.
We're looking for a short, bald guy. You are one. No, the other one. Rico. The one that won't admit it publicly.
Straight edge Rico.
Stick around in the second hour. Right, let's get to our mailbag, Stewie. You got some.
It's on the you never asked for it when I had it, and now that I don't have it, you keep asking for it.
What?
The cat sitter. The excuse maker.
Yeah, perfect shirt for
it. If that's not a stoner outfit you're wearing today, I mean, that's perfect 420.
Oh, wow.
You would fit at Culture Club for sure.
Those feel like the 80s workout pants that everybody wore.
These are from Pineapple Express, the movie that he wears.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
special for the holiday. I don't know. They're from a Mayan place that I found online, so it's.
Is it a rug?
It's kind of it's kind of like a rug.
It looks ruggish.
It's not the most comfortable, but they are cool.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so I'll put up with it for today.
Ruggish.
Yes.
Stewie, all right, let's go. No imaging that Lloyd made.
I made it too. It's on the Roadcaster.
He's not transferred it yet.
What are y'all looking for?
The cat sitter.
Yes.
All right, let's go, Stewie. What we got? Mailbag questions.
Chandler Hagewood. This may be an unfair question since Jay Johnson hasn't had his first recruiting class at LSU. But what would your mid-grade season be? A+ to F.
Yeah.
Halfway point through SEC play.
I don't expect anybody to put a lot of stock into my baseball grades. And there's a lot of listeners out there that listen to this show that know a lot more baseball, specifically probably about this team than me. From what I have seen and what I've watched, and I've watched a lot of it, is that I think he underestimated the competition in the league. It really felt like he underestimated the SEC. If there's one thing that you could negatively say about Jay Johnson, that would be it. All in all, I'm riding with Johnson. I think that he is the guy to get it right. I think in year one, there were some things that he had to learn on the job, and there was no other place to learn that. And I think that he's taken his licks on that, and he's knowing what he has to do to build the program into the future. I think that there's some guys that aren't going to make it from this first roster onto the second roster for Johnson because of what he's learned he needs to build his team through. I think he put so much stock in the offense. You know, I listen to people like Doug Thompson. I listen to people like Mikey Matuk. I listen, to people like Wilson Alexander, who covers the team every single day, and what they say. And I believe that Jay Johnson is the right coach for LSU baseball to take them to a championship level program over the next decade. In year one, I would say because of the lack of respect that he had for the league, and that may be a harsh way to put it, but I don't know if he put enough stock into, look, every Friday night in the SEC, you're facing a dude, man. And you're not going to be able to sacrifice your defense just because you think you got a Major League Baseball lineup. And offensively is always going to be great here, but you're going up against some pitchers that are nasty, that even the top lineups in the league are going to struggle with. I looked up and saw that LSU was fourth offensively in the league. I thought going into the season they were going to be one in every category, dominantly. And some years it just doesn't work out like that because the pitching in the league and the defense, for that matter, is elite on a lot of Friday nights and some particular programs on Saturdays too. So, I think that LSU and Jay Johnson had to learn some things on the job, like seeing it up close and going to Mississippi State and going to Florida and going to Arkansas and hosting Auburn and going through those. And there's still experiences to be had. I mean, he hadn't been to Hoover yet.
Oof.
It's still going to be some on-the-job, not training, but knowledge building. So, I think it would be unfair to say, hey, give him a D and F. I mean, even a C. I think for what he's had to deal with and, what he's had to learn and the way that, I just from my standpoint, I respect the way that Jay Johnson, he answers the questions. He tells you directly. He shoots you straight. He's not trying to maneuver around anything that's not obvious. He takes everything head on. He tells you that they got to get better. He tells you that they're working on it. He tells you that they're putting emphasis on the things they're struggling with. And look, at some point, you either need better players or better coaches or strategy, and I think he understands that part of it. So, I'd give him a B, but, I don't think that you or I would put a lot of stock into that. It's take it for what it's worth. But, I don't by any means feel like he's flunked anything. I feel like he's overlooked the competition in the SEC, and, defensively it's tough to explain how an LSU college-level team can struggle the way they have. But I think that stuff will be fixed. I really do. I think that stuff will be – they'll find a remedy for that. What else you got, Stewie?
Hughes Bowden. Kansas received the NOA September 23rd, 2019. Arizona, March 20th, 2021. No sanctions. Why is it foregone conclusion LSU will receive sanctions?
I think that we commented on this a couple of days ago, at least last week, saying that I don't believe they will. I wouldn't be shocked if they do, and I wouldn't be shocked if they don't. I really wouldn't. At this point, it's obvious why LSU moved on Wade, and it's obvious what the NCAA wanted. Both sides have kind of come to an agreement, a neutral ground. Wade is gone, and not only is Wade gone, but Bill Armstrong is gone, Joe Oliva is gone, F. King Alexander is gone, Eddie Nunez is gone. The entire roster, or nearly 85% of the roster, is out of the door. So anyone who had anything to do with that time of LSU basketball has really been removed. And from LSU's standpoint, I think you could look at the NCAA and say, what else could we do? We believe we've taken every necessary step to prevent harsh penalty or penalty at all, and have a negotiating chip. The LSU football stuff in that notice of allegations was only a scare tactic. There was nothing that was going to come down on the football program. They're not going to mess with LSU football. And I think that there's potential that they could keep the basketball program clean by just saying, look, everybody's gone. Everybody's been removed. Not only the guy that you wanted the most in Wade, but everybody around him has been removed. Nearly the entire roster is gone. What else could you do if you're LSU? And I would legitimately ask the NCAA that in their, response to whatever it is. And LSU, as they said in their statement, they didn't admit any guilt. They weren't saying that they were guilty of anything. So they're obviously behind the scenes putting together some type of reply to say, hey, we're innocent because of this. And I really believe that there is a scenario that the NCAA can say, look, I don't trust them, and I wouldn't believe what they tell you, but I do believe behind closed doors they celebrated the day that Wade was removed from his job, and that probably meant enough or a lot went a long way to say, all right, we're done with LSU. I mean, you've bullied and pushed him around for 4 years. You got what you wanted. I mean, a scholarship or two, I would say would be a win, and I don't think it's outside of the question. It would not surprise me if there's no postseason ban for LSU basketball, really and truly. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Stewie?
You don't know, too. Do you think that we will have one steady quarterback this year, assuming he stays healthy?
I do. I believe that LSU, and I'm staying firm on what I said a couple of weeks back on that I believe that Garrett Nussmeier is going to win this competition. Because the same people that I was talking to get that information continue to give me the confidence of keep riding the horse, man. Nussmeier feels like the guy, and we'll see a lot of it on Saturday, and we'll see those guys together, all three of them competing against one another. But Nussmeier is the hybrid of the two, and he's exceptional at both skills. He's also a tremendous leader and a guy that wants the job. And he knows that he's perceived to be the outsider. And he's got a little bit of that FU in him that will make him kind of go get it. Not kind of, go get it. And I believe Garrett Nussmeier is the best quarterback on LSU's team. I think he's the most consistent on this team. And I don't know a lot about Jaden Daniels and watching him in play. I've seen his highlights. I've seen his action from Arizona State. He does a lot of good things, man. And he's a really good player to have in that competition. Same can be said about Brennan. He's throwing the ball well this spring. But you want the complete player. To me, that's number 13. That's Nussmeier. And I have said since the middle of spring, it wouldn't surprise me a bit if he's the quarterback now coming out of spring, or at least going into the last week of the spring. He's got my vote. If you're asking who's your starting quarterback at this point going into the offseason, I would say it's Nussmeier's job to lose.
You think he starts game one?
Yes. I know that Brian Kelly and those guys have a sense of a mindset of they've got nothing to lose. Same thing we talked about in not nothing to lose of losing the game, but if we believe Nussmeier's the best player, we don't have to make excuses for it. Put him in there and play him. And there is, from what I have learned in talking to the people that I trust, that there is a majority sentiment in the coaching quarters of both sides of the table, offense, defense, that, hey, man, he's a problem. He's a problem for the defense. Offensively, the wide receiver, he throws a pretty good ball. From an offensive line standpoint, he commands the huddle. He communicates very well. From a coaching standpoint, Brian Kelly's comments about Nussmeier on Saturday spoke a ton.
Yep.
Man, that wasn't an Ogeron, Les Miles, hey, Richard Murphy's going to be the starter type comment, or, look out for some defensive lineman that, who was the defensive Langston that Ed Ogeron was saying, you never saw the guy. I mean, what he was saying about Garrett Nussmeier, to me, I don't think Brian Kelly has time to try and dupe you with that type of stuff. I think he's shooting you straight. He's telling you, hey, man, Nussmeier can fit it into some spots that don't look like they're there. He does a really good job of preparing. I mean, he's complimenting that guy in the public. That doesn't just happen on accident from a guy like Brian Kelly. Like we talked about a couple of minutes ago, he fits into a very unique class of football coaches. Saban, Belichick. He has that feel to him where he's more of a CEO of a business, not your football coach. He knows what he's doing. He's not just going to get through that microphone and say Garrett Nussmeier's name if he's not trying to send a message to somebody, if he's not trying to tell Garrett Nussmeier what he believes in him, or he's told him behind closed doors and he can come back and say, see, I told you how much I believe in you. I'm out there on Saturdays telling the entire media that, you're pretty much my guy. So it wouldn't surprise me a bit if Nussmeier is the guy. And to answer the question, Stewie, if he is it, I don't think that there's room for a two-quarterback system. I don't think that there's room for another guy. If he's the one, play him every down. And, that sucks for Brennan, And Daniels, I think, knew this coming in from a transfer standpoint, that they had some guys that were embedded in the program. And this competition's still open. But if you want to vote, if you want my guy at this point and who I would bet on, it would be 13. I'd bet on Nussmeier.
Do you think that sets up a problem for the future whenever you have a redshirt freshman as your, if he makes it through the entire year, does well, then you just have Walker Howard waiting in the wings. He won't wait forever because he's just 1 year apart. He won't redshirt.
Same thing I said about Nussmeier, I feel about Howard. I think Howard's a better player than Garrett Nussmeier is when it comes down to it. And that's just the harsh reality of college football. You're a player, son. You're a dog. But number 14 is a killer. And there has been some signs early on in camp of Walker Howard's career of this cat's going to be tough to keep off the field in 2 years. Just because, he's got a natural throwing ability of, you talking about make it look easy.
It'll start next year. Like the calls for Walker Howard, no matter what happens.
You'll see him at pieces this year where he doesn't become in the he doesn't come in the conversation where you got to play him now, but he's going to give you something where you're like he's done to the coaches right now, where the coaches are getting into their offices and saying 14's an issue. 14's going to be a problem for the future.
How many games do you think he plays this year?
Because I think they keep the red shirt on him.
Yeah, but he's still get to play 6.
Is it 4?
4? 6?
No, it's 4.
4.
If the opportunity is there to play him 4 and keep the red shirt, I think that they would do that. I think that he definitely sees and gets action this year because he's so much of what the future is going to look like at LSU. And I think him and Nussmeier is going to be fierce competition in the future. Every day there's a play from both guys that can be made. At the end of it, I think that Howard's an edge better. I don't think that it's clear cut that you say, 14's your guy. I think that in the competition, there's just some things that Howard does naturally that you say, man, it'd be tough to lose a game with him on the bench. Right?
Yeah.
If you've got access to a guy like Howard, it'd be tough to lose a game with him watching. Just because he does too many things that give you a chance to win. Not that Nussmeier doesn't. I think that's what happens when you bring elite players in.
Right.
When you've got 4- and 5-star guys. When you've got top 10 prospects at each position. What was Nussmeier, the 7th ranked quarterback in the country? Walker Howard was the number 1 quarterback ranked in the country. Those guys are going to be at each other's throat for the starting job for 2 years. And what's my opinion? You know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Shit. You know what I mean? This thing's 365 days away from getting there, and it means nothing.
You're almost in the same situation you were last year with the quarterbacks, where you're afraid to name a starter that you maybe wanted to name because of what you can lose to the transfer portal, right? Like you didn't want to name any. Miles Brennan obviously took himself out of the running when he got hurt, but that was the real conversation: was Max Johnson, Miles Brennan. Whichever one you pick, you're afraid that you're going to lose to the portal. And so you're back into that conversation. If you name Nussmeier the starter, you're going to lose Miles Brennan or Jaden Daniels, I would imagine, again. And then you're stuck with...
Well, Daniels can't. And he can't transfer again and be eligible.
He could not transfer again?
No, you get one
chance,
waiver to be eligible. You get one chance. You get one transfer to be eligible.
Or is he a graduate transfer?
No, he's got 2 years left.
Okay.
Walker always has his PS5 business to lean on.
He had to lean back on. Yeah, he's made.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, number 1 and the number 2 business. They specialize in all works of plumbing, industrial, commercial, and residential. They got 30-year veterans on staff as well as the up-and-comers of the newest members to the plumbing industry. They've got experienced carpenters and plumbers on staff, which means if you're looking for an industrial remodel of any kind, Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works can help you out today. Remember, we remind you that they've got 2 trucks on the road in East Baton Rouge Parish every day. They're located over in Plaquemine. They gave us the thumbs up. They confirmed everybody's good over there after the chemical leak over at Dow the other night, which was a very scary scenario for our West Baton Rouge brothers and sisters over there, the people over there that were affected by that. That was a crazy story as Jude Barker and his people are all good. They were talking about how scary that was.
That was weird.
That was weird.
That
man.
happening.
Remember, no social media, no website.
Watched it last night.
You did?
No.
Oh man.
Yeah, bro. I heard that was a terrible movie.
Aw.
17%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe it's a watch for tonight where you don't really care. You know,
Maybe so.
You won't judge it so
Maybe so.
harshly.
I mean, it's
Remember the phone
freaky.
number for our friends over at Barker Brothers, 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show and you get 15% off whatever the bottom line is from Barker Brothers Plumbing. It doesn't give you 15% off of a service call or a maintenance, whatever happens, whatever service you need from Barker Brothers Plumbing. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show and you get 15% off. 225-776-2431. More LSU football discussion with Brody Miller, who covers the Tigers for The Athletic, next here on the show. Come back with us as we're driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every day. Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
All right, personal testimony from my trip over to Johnson and Spillers. Shout out to my friend Dr. Chad Spillers for taking care of me, man. I had to have my front tooth, a tooth implanted on my front tooth, and it was a hell of an ordeal, but Dr. Spillers and the crew from Johnson and Spillers made it as easy and seamless as possible to work with and have taken the final product, and it is absolutely beautiful. Learn more online at johnsonspillers.com. Whether you're looking for Botox or you need help in any type of dentistry, whether it is dentures, night guards, if you're looking for Invisalign, if you're interested in implant dentistry like I got, you can get in touch with Johnson and Spillers. Online, johnsonspillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easiest way to get them, online at johnsonspillers.com.
Ah, shoot.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUX.Chevrolet.com. Our friend Brody Miller over at The Athletic covers LSU as good as anyone. Make sure and give The Athletic a subscription so you can keep up with Brody's work. He is all over social media, so it's easy to find him there at Brody A. Miller if you're looking for him on Twitter. Probably the easiest way to keep up with his work. Got a lot of good stuff over on the site right now that you can catch up on, including the latest transfer in for LSU as they were able to scoop up another defensive back, a very talented defensive back out of the portal that should help immediately. Here to help us out with it is our friend Brody Miller from The Athletic. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing all right. Let's start with Sevyn Banks, the latest out of the transfer portal, who has announced that he's coming down to LSU. What do the Tigers pick up here, and what does this do for the DB numbers?
Yeah, I think the main thing to some extent is depth, right? I mean, that's obviously the buzzword so much lately. And that's not to downplay Sevyn Banks, but he does come with question marks, right? He's a guy who, had some major injury problems at times at Ohio State. And I think there are some people around there that were wondering if his hip is going to really check out. And that's, again, I don't mean to lead with that part, but it's to say it kind of like we said earlier with even like a Jaden Daniels, sometimes these additions are a win-win because Banks probably needed somebody to bet on him right now, while LSU needs some depth right now. They need somebody who, is willing to fight for a spot and to some extent. So I think Banks, when healthy, is a no-brainer, starter caliber outside corner who can definitely give some competition to Mekhi Garner on the outside, for example. I think everything I've talked to around people at Ohio State is he is a solid outside corner, and Ohio State cranks out great corners. So I think he's good enough to play at LSU. You just do want to make sure he's healthy and whatnot. So it does feel like a win-win where, all right, if he's not, if he's healthy, shoot, now Mekhi Garner and him are competing for that outside spot. If not, well, that's obviously a problem, but at least it's kind of a low-risk problem.
What's the latest on Converse, the transfer in from Oklahoma State? I know that he had a setback and expected to back mid off season.
Yes, he had a successful surgery on his foot, and all indications from Brian Kelly are everything went well. Everything since has been going well, and he should be back for June for summer workouts and all around. So all indications are Kelly even said they're just not really worried about that, for lack of a better term. But as just when he's out, that's almost the jarring thing. Yeah. He's probably going to be okay for the season, but it's the idea of him being out and you're watching practice and it's Demarius McGee or Jordan Tolles moving over to corner, and you're just like, oh wow, the depth really, really is low there. So I think it's almost more about what it represents if one guy's out than it is concerned about him specifically.
The other big story around LSU this week was Corey Kiner put his name into the portal. He announced that he's going to go home and going to attend the University of Cincinnati. What did you make of the decision of Kiner? And same question as we presented on the defensive backfield. What does this do now for the numbers at that running back position?
Yeah, there's so many areas on this roster, as we both know, that you would worry about when a guy leaves. I just don't put running back quite on that list. I think him leaving is almost proof that the room is in good shape. That I don't think this was a issue with Brian Kelly's situation. I don't think this was a drama-filled one. I think Corey Kiner is a really, really good running back who was in a really crowded room where he might have been the third, maybe fourth guy. I don't exactly know, but he was probably going to be in that mix a little bit. And it just made sense, I think, in a lot of ways for him to look at his hometown school, a playoff team, by the way, in Cincinnati, and be like, I'm going to go home, probably be a star running back. And yeah, I think there was frustration a little bit at times here, but I think to some extent that was kind of seeing the writing on the wall that he wasn't going to get that major time. Into your second part of your question, LSU running back is stable. Even if Noah Cain wasn't coming in, you do feel decent about John Emery is poised to have a breakout year, it appears. Then, of course, Trey Bradford's been kind of the next guy up for a lot of this spring. He's looked really good at times. And then Armani Goodwin, we just saw break a really impressive 60-yard touchdown in the scrimmage Saturday. And then people forget Josh Williams really easily, but he's a scholarship running back who I know a lot of staffers really trust and really think highly of. So, and you're adding Noah Cain from Penn State. So they are fine at running back. I don't even really see that as an issue. Is it a bummer to lose a really good talent like Kiner? Of course, but it's not panic button or anything like that.
Brody, you dove into the quarterback competition, and we just had a segment here where we were really kind of throwing a lot of love on Garrett Nussmeier, and we were asked a couple of weeks ago who, if there was one that we would kind of place our bet on as, a potential starter down the line. I've said Nussmeier is kind of a hybrid between the guys that they have certain skill sets like Brennan, like Daniels, and now, with Nussmeier's, the leadership qualities that you're hearing from him and what Brian Kelly said last Saturday. You sum that up in one of your pieces that is available right now at The Athletic. What are you learning about the quarterback competition, and where is Garrett Nussmeier fitting in?
Yeah, first off, I think that's really well put, that he is, I kind of wish I put that in there, right? That he is kind of the hybrid of what everyone's main selling point is in some ways. Yeah, and I think we all, a lot of us, and I'm not even saying you, but a lot of us, myself included, frame this as just a two-man battle, just, because we had these two veterans, Brennan and Daniels, and it just seemed like it was headed that way. And that was a lot of the word. But then you just talk to people around the last week or two, and it's a pretty consistent response from people is, Nussmeier's looked better than anyone, or as good as anyone, or, hey, this isn't a two-man job. This is a three, and I think I don't want to get ahead of that. Like, that's not me even saying he's inherently the front runner or that he's going to win it.
Right.
It's just that he looks really good and they think really highly of him. And, he obviously was raw as a freshman. We all know that. We all saw it. He went into Johnny Manziel mode a lot from what I hear in practices, and we saw that in some games. He wants to make the big play. And I think in turn there became this narrative that he is this kind of not that smart gunslinger. And I think he's learning to play within himself. But Garrett Nussmeier, as well as I, is really smart. He's not like one of those. He's a son of a quarterback coach. I mean, I remember he was writing blogs for SI.com when he was in high school about his experiences. Like, he's just a sharp, he's been on your show plenty, I believe. He's just a sharp guy. And I think was learning that balance that so many quarterbacks have to, of what you can do versus what you should do. And I think, talking to some Joe Sloan and some others, I mean, he's learned to play within himself. And game manager is a term I stray really, really far away from because it has its own connotation. But it's about learning to play. All right, here's what the offense is showing, because those opportunities to make plays will just happen naturally. But on a play-by-play basis, you just have to be disciplined. And I think he's making strides. I don't know if he's going to win it. I do think they'd like him to. They do see a benefit in one more year of development, and I don't think they're worried about him bailing from what I've gathered. But at the same time, yeah, if he's the best guy, you give it to him.
I thought Kelly's comments about him on Saturday were very telling. I thought that was, I don't think that Kelly's playing coy to the media. I don't think that he's overthinking things like that. I think if he's got something to say, he's going to tell you, and he showered a lot of praise on Nussmeier.
No, I'm glad you said that, because he doesn't fake it just to fake it. Kelly, he will tell you, hey, this guy's struggling. This guy, no, it's not working out. He's done that at least twice I can think of this spring. And I mean, the best example is when he was like, Will Campbell, yeah, he's really good, but he's not good enough to play. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, this guy's changed everything. That's a great example, I think. And with Nussmeier, for him to say that, I think really is telling that it's the technical things that he's working on, and he is making huge strides, he said, and he's really impressed there. So, again, I think Brennan's looked really good. I've heard Daniels had a stretch of really good practices about a week or two ago where they were like, all right, he's showing it. So I think they're in a situation where they are really pleased with that room. So, again, I don't want to overhype the Nussmeier thing. It's more about he is in it more than people think.
Brody Miller from The Athletic. Make sure and get your subscription to pick up with the latest info here, especially the last week of spring and heading into the off season for spring game coming up on Saturday. You did a piece on Jamar Cain, the defensive line coach. His group, to me, Brody, I think very much stands out from the rest of the practice field. It's just far as the talent and the depth and the numbers. What do you expect from Cain and his group here in year one?
Yeah, it should be the strength of this team, quite frankly. It should be what they are building their identity on. It should be what's keeping them in games where other areas maybe are weaknesses at times. I mean, like you said, you watch them at practice, and it's just like, oh, these are the grown men of the team. And yeah, receivers in that group too, but there's only like 6 really, right? Like, it's like those 6 are nasty, but there's not a 7th. And I think that's, while D-line, you have a guy like, I don't even know, a Savion Jones, who is second or third team at times, or Xavier Carter's had some great reps, and he's probably the second or third edge rusher. I think they're like, the idea of Jaquelin Roy and Jacoby and Guillory, who are having great springs, both like taking turns first team nose tackle. I think that shows you where this team is. Or Mekhi Wingo, an all SEC freshman SEC defensive lineman, is second team for the most part right now. I think that really tells you, because Mason Smith, by all accounts, should be, I don't even think it's an exaggeration to say he could be the best D lineman in the SEC this year, if it comes together. That's just realistic. And Ali Gay has proven it. BJ Ojulari has proven it. So I always talk on the show about like the most healthy place for a room to be is where you have that combination of experience and reliability with just crazy upside, and you're marrying that, and that room has that tenfold.
Mason Smith tracking and catching the punt was freakish. I mean, just like watching how easy
put him back
that
there.
is for that guy.
Easy's
I mean,
word.
just like very
just like,
simple.
No
Yeah,
problem.
it was like simple back there for him, just like track it, field it, and make a move and get up the field. It is interesting to see the amount of talent on that defensive line. Now, on the other side, it's got to be making these offensive line guys better by going up against that group every single day. What have you seen? Will Campbell's getting a lot of the accolades there, but I've heard a lot of good things about Miles Frazier. What's going on in that offensive line over the last couple of practices?
Yeah, I think the main thing I've noticed throughout this spring is the floor is raising to some extent, right? I'm not sure what the ceiling is for this line. I don't want to place it too high, but I do think that floor is raising where, and I think a lot of credit goes to Brad Davis. We did see it the second half of last year where guys were taking strides. And I think you're seeing that this spring with a full year with Brad Davis of, okay, Will Campbell, right? That's the big success story. But there were practices in the first half of spring where Xavier Hill looked like the best lineman out there. He was just manhandling guys, and he was getting first-team guard reps. And now, lately, it seems a little like 3 practices in a row. It looks like it's been Frazier and Tremont Shorts, the two, transfers at the 2 guard spots. And I think that's a really good sign because Frazier's a big guy. He's raw. He's so much talent. I think him kind of earning some trust there is a really big sign. And now right tackle's tricky, but you have options. And I think that's the biggest thing of these last few weeks. The biggest thing of the Will Campbell success that opens up is the idea of now you have options where, okay, Doomerville and Cam Wire are battling at right tackle. You feel decent. One of those guys is going to do well. But also, hey, maybe you want to move Garrett Dellinger inside now because you feel good about that. Or if you don't feel good about it, you can make Garrett Dellinger compete at right tackle and he'd do well there. Or Marlon Martinez is a guy who I'm really high on. I mean, a guy who I would actually put like second or third in the pecking order just off what we saw last year. He hasn't even been around, and we forget about him. He could be the starting center. But then you also have Brian Kelly really raving about Charles Turner making strides at center. So I just think the big win here, as well as I is, a year ago we were panicking about, man, the depth there is just troubled. And it's not where they wanted, God no. But they have really done a good job of at least being 2-3 deep throughout that O-line. So I do think they will have a replacement level line now. Do I think it's going to be top of the SEC? No, but I think they've made strides.
One of the positions when you pulled out of Houston of the Texas Bowl that was majorly concerning had to be linebacker, right? I mean, the linebacker position in the transformation that they've made and just the personnel. Mike Jones was on the show last week, a very colorful personality, very descriptive in the way that he tells you some of the changes that has been made, and it seems like he's had a really good spring practice and really kind of put himself at the top of the leadership and the pecking order of the rotation up there. Harold Perkins is coming in here in a couple of weeks. What does that do for the numbers, and how do you feel about that unit going into the season? Because like I said, a couple of months ago, probably a cause for concern, but now feels like a very healthy group.
Yeah, healthy group. I like the way to put that because Mike Jones you lead off with. I think the biggest thing even to him more than his play, which has been really solid, I think they like him, is you talking to people around the program that first month, they're like, Mike Jones, that's our guy. They knew they could trust him right away. He's a guy they could lean on through this transition. He's a really high character guy, as you know. I think that was huge for them. And then for him to kind of carve out this spot right now. And then Greg Penn has all this upside versus Micah Baskerville, who maybe not the upside, but is just more reliable. And they have him second team a lot, and I think they want a little more out of him. I think they're a little frustrated with him at times. You have, the idea of if Penn is jumping over Baskerville, that's a really good sign in a lot of ways because he does have so much talent. And I like the marriage of him with Jones of kind of that veteran, high IQ character guy mixed with this upside. And Penn makes some plays at practice where you're like, shoot, that guy has a chance to be special. And I think that's the best news for Perkins because the best thing, in my opinion, for a freshman, especially like a linebacker type position, is to get on the field but not have too much thrust upon you. And I think Perkins, I would assume, is good enough to be I don't know, third or fourth in that room to get some real reps, kind of in the way, I don't know, Damone got as a sophomore in 19. I think that's maybe a good comp. Like, that's reasonable, but not, they don't have to force it. He can take a year of learning, and I think that's really healthy. And we're even, the idea of now having a West Weeks and a Colby Fields and guys like that to back that room up, or DeMario Tolan, they're just stable there, and that's the goal so often.
The name that keeps popping every day when you just ask for who shined seems to be Malik Neighbors. Where is his confidence? Where is his health? What is your expectation around the second-year wideout? Yeah,
I think he's somebody who's, and I think Kelly's comments Saturday about the receivers were telling, and I think it's true that Neighbors falls in the category of guys who, you see the coaches get on him hard. I think he's somebody who, Kelly's comments, for those who haven't heard, were just about the receivers are so talented, but they're working on grit. They're working on, hey, you look great the first half of practice, but where are you the second half? And things like that.
Stamina.
Which adds up with what's that?
Stamina is what he kept saying.
Yeah. And that's something you and I have heard that's kind of, I think, been an issue with star type guys the last 2 years. And I think that's really interesting. So I think Neighbors falls in that category, right? Where sometimes you'll hear them, you'll hear Denbrock get on him about like effort in a drill. But I say all that to say he makes plays. Yeah. And I remember talking to a staffer a year ago, and they were just like, it's hard to describe like what makes Neighbors great. He just makes plays on the ball. He just figures out like Deion Smith, it might be more literally talented, for example, or another example, Thomas is bigger and stronger. Neighbors just a football player, and he made that grab on the sideline Saturday where it's like an NFL catch, for the kind where you're like tippy-toeing and you're falling over on the sideline as you catch it. Really impressive stuff from him. And there's no reason he shouldn't be number 2 behind Butte, or at least number 3. He seems like he is clearly the number 1 of those young receivers. But the beauty of that room is Thomas, Hilton, Besh. I mean, you're just so stable there, and we all sleep on Dre Jenkins. But Dre Jenkins, quite frankly, is number 2 in my opinion. He's just so steady.
You've obviously covered both regimes now with Brian Kelly starting this year and what happened last year with Ed Orgeron. What would you say is the biggest difference between the two springs up to this point?
I think control is the best, thing I can think of on the top of my head, of just everything feeling thought out, everything feeling planned. There is an intensity that, I think that was there with Orgeron too. I think, there was a very strong intensity, but it was a controlled chaos. Everything right now feels like, here's the 10 minutes where we are focusing on this, and we're going to work really, really hard in those 10 minutes. And everybody is getting on everybody, and it's high tempo. But then once you're done with that 10 minutes, you move on, and everyone knows what they're doing. I just think you're seeing the benefit of having a coach like Brian Kelly, who is I avoid CEO because, again, I think it has its own weird connotation, but a process guy who is just obsessed with figuring out the right practice format and checking the GPS numbers to figure out what the tempo is. Do they need to scale back, scale up? I think you're just seeing that stuff where you are seeing the program learn how to practice how he wants to. And I don't think they're where they want to be in terms of Kelly with practicing and all that, but I think that's my biggest takeaway, is just the sense of control and planning that is noticeable. And I think that's the part where it gives me confidence. I don't know where they'll be X's and O's wise, this fall, but I do think you're going to see LSU run better, just process.
Great week to be in the city, my friend. Zurich Classic, French Quarter Fest, Pelicans game. Your weekend should be stacking up. How you looking?
I'll be at the Zurich Friday working, and then going straight to the Pels game Friday night. Nice. It's going to be a heck of a weekend.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Oh, do you have to go to the spring game Saturday?
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah, he does. Thank you as always, man. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks as always, guys. Take care.
Later, man. There is Brody Miller checking in this morning with great information as always. As if you are looking for that information, that cutting-edge stuff that Miller is talking about, make sure and get your subscription over at The Athletic. Support what he's got going on over there, man, as it's a great product. And like I said, there's a ton of write-ups over there. The latest, like we said, on the transfer guys, on that quarterback competition. Looks like Brody and I are talking to a lot of the similar and same people up in the office, because a lot of what Brody has given you insight on Nussmeier in that quarterback race is the same thing that I'm hearing. And I'm telling you that people are really glowing about just the early return on Nussmeier. Not over, nobody's jumping the shark here. It's not crazy talk. It's just people are impressed with the leadership, the growth, his ability to really understand what the offensive coordinator and Mike Denbrock and Brian Kelly want from that position. And he's been very consistent. And consistency with a coaching staff goes a long way. And, you know, I saw some comments. He's trying to motivate the other two guys. Well, if he's having to do that, what's that telling you about Nussmeier? Nussmeier's bringing it every day. And I think that's, you know, that's going a long way for him right now. That conversation brought to you by GoFlow IV. GoFlow IV, our friends over there, GEAUX Flow, IV.com. Remember, over at GoFlow, they can help you out today. They offer memberships over there, which is a very easy way to take care of their service. 3-month, 6-month, annual memberships available that you can learn more about at GoFlow, GEAUX Flow, IV.com, GoFlowIV.com online. You see that tab titled memberships. Just click on there and learn how you can sign up over at GoFlow. And remember, if you use the Jordy Culotta Show, if you let them know that you heard it right here, they'll take 15% off of your visit over there, which is a really cool discount. Make sure that you tell them that you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show, and they'll help you out today over at GoFlow. That is GEAUX Flow, IV.com, Baton Rouge's premier medical spa specializing in IV hydration for you out there as, man, the weather has been
perfect.
Bike ride weather.
It won't last.
Bike ride weather
no,
this
it's
morning.
Louisiana.
Maybe another week of it or something like that.
This morning was, it was beautiful. I mean, just
It's golf weather.
Sun. It feels very
golf
much like
weather,
golf
I
weather.
guess.
I want
Doing
to
it.
walk over and play 9 at City one afternoon.
We can do that. Easy stroll.
Easy. Clubs are in the office.
That's
Clubs are
true.
in the
Y'all
office.
really could walk to do that. I'll drive the beverage cart.
And that's where I grew up, man. That cart, that's the course that I grew up on.
Yeah.
9 holes.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Get in, get out.
Perfect. And dude, they got a hole for every shot.
A shot for every hole? What are you
No,
pervert?
No, that's right. Okay, easy. Y'all two. I mean, you can't say anything around y'all. Y'all like dealing with fucking 7th graders.
Speaking of
Really?
golf, did y'all see the article I stuck in there about John Daly's son signing
Stick
the
it in.
NIL
Stick
deal
it in.
with Hooters?
Oh, okay.
And did you see the pictures of his son?
Yeah, he looks like a
Little
miniature
JD.
Daily.
Yeah, you know how many times he had to
That
go pick up
mullet
his
is
dad from
serious.
Hooters?
No doubt.
JD, keys are in the truck. He's like, Dad, I'm 12.
Hey, Junior.
Drive it.
Why is
That
he
red
signing an
dually
NIL
outside.
deal?
Come pick me up.
Cops are trying to kick me out.
What's that?
I don't know why is he signing an NIL deal after playing one college tournament?
Because of
Just
name
because
recognition.
he's John Daly's
Yes.
son? Jeez. I
And
mean,
and he's a
Absolutely.
player.
I'm sure.
He goes to Arkansas.
yeah, he does.
Did they play I mean, they used to clean up kind of on the Tiger Charlie tour. That used to be John and Junior. I
Yeah,
think that used to run that place.
Well, now it's kind of like they can't really play in it because Junior's
I
too
mean,
good.
well, I mean, he's a college
He's
golfer.
a college kid. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, JT was out there with his dad in this same tournament trying to clean up on these 10-year-olds.
Oh, bro, get out of here! What a bully!
I don't know. Like, Dad, give it up.
I mean, Charlie almost feels like cheating.
It kind of is. It's not Tiger that you're worried about.
It's not.
Charlie going there with all the swagger that he's got. He's showing people money signs after he's making putts. He won't be a problem with the women at all.
At all.
No.
None.
You see all the mistakes I made? They weren't really mistakes.
Right. Don't let him talk you out of it.
Just don't drive.
All right, we're going to talk to Perry Berry coming up here at 9 a.m. this morning. You laughing at his name?
Yes, I always laugh at his name. I
It's a-
can't. You
it's a
can't
great-
say that
it's a
name
great
without
name.
laughing. Yeah.
Do you
it
have to
really
have like
is.
an honest conversation with your spouse if you're like, I kind of want to go Perry, and they're like, Perry Berry? And you're like, wait, I like it.
Well, what do you mean? That was always his name before he got married. Oh,
No,
you
I'm
mean when
talking
they
about-
had
yeah,
him?
yeah, his
Oh.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
What's the
Junior?
real name for Perry? Is that a nickname?
That's a good
Has to
good
be a
question.
poll
Perry has
question.
to be
Put
a
it on the
nickname,
poll.
right? That sounds
Put it
like
on the
a
poll.
nickname. But I don't know what it would
It
be
does.
short for.
Like Perriman?
Yeah, it
Oh,
might be.
maybe that was great.
It might
Good
be
poll.
don't know.
Perriman. Paranoid?
Yeah, that was
Paranoid. 420.
perineum.
What? What? Who?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, right. Shh. Turn it down.
I
Dude,
guess
I'm
we
not
could
playing
just
anything.
ask him,
We're fucked,
right?
bro. We're fucked.
But yeah, it is a weird, like, let's go with Perry Berry.
Right.
Perry Berry.
It's a conversation.
I think you got to be a player.
To
Like,
have that name?
You better be a. You
Yeah.
better be
Funny.
a stud.
You got to have something going
Yeah,
for
you got to have something going for you.
'Cause
Well,
we
yeah, if I'm meeting you and, like, maybe we're going on a date and you're like, my
Perry.
name's Perry Berry, I'd be like, nah.
No. Prove it.
Seriously, what's your name?
Exactly.
Right.
Because we had a kid in the fraternity, his name was right there. His
No,
parents
it was
obviously
not.
had a decision to name him right, but his last name was there, so he was right there.
His last name was there. How do you spell it?
Thurr.
That's
Wait,
interesting.
say that again?
His name was right there. Like, WRIGHTTH. I think it was THURR.
Bro, that's mean.
That is mean.
I mean, that's mean.
I mean, he was.
It's like our boy the coldest.
That's,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
The coldest Crawford.
I mean, like, you better be a dog,
You better be a
bro.
dude.
You better be something. Again,
Yes.
like, you better be.
You can't run
gotta
away
be
from
good
that.
at
Yeah,
something.
you got to
Was
have
Wright
something
a
going
cool
for
guy?
you. No.
Oh, he wasn't. Oh, that's sad.
Well, no, it was perfect that he wasn't. Right there. Where are you? Is the first name off everybody's brain, dude. He was always in trouble. Where's right there? He's right there. So, yeah, it fucked him for sure.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Who did it?
that's
Right.
weird.
Right? Yeah.
There.
Where is he?
Right there.
He's right there.
Right there did it.
That's a weird choice for the parents.
Yeah. That's what we thought. We're like, did they do this on purpose? They must not have liked him very much.
No doubt.
You have to
I mean,
do
they
that on
have to do that
purpose.
on purpose.
Yeah.
That's strange. Poor guy. I feel bad for him.
Patrick Dorsey says you better have a big wood,
That's true.
For
Perry or
Perry
Wright?
Berry's packing.
for sure.
How do you know?
You can just tell. he exudes it.
Jawline.
We'll ask him. Yeah.
Yeah, ask him that too. What's Perry short for, and what's your unit like?
Yeah. I couldn't wear a cup.
You mean to stand up?
Yeah. Video call.
What's Eddie Murphy say on Raw? You mean to stir it for you? When he talked about the reason why they don't put black guys in underwear models, he's like, you'd have to put a fold out in the newspaper. You want me to stir it for you? Stewie back there, up there with his hands, but Sean Payton. Whoa. Sean, I'm looking at the Mexican pizzas back at Taco Bell. Hell of a move by Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Not that I'll go try it out, but that was my go-to
Me
order
too.
back in the day.
I really liked a Mexican pizza.
Me too. I
Today,
could not believe that they took it off of the menu.
I know.
Perfect day to bring it back, I'd imagine.
420.
That's right. Is
Yeah.
today the day they're
I
bringing
don't know.
it back?
I don't know. You know what? Let me see real quick. Mexican pizza is back in 1985. It was unveiled on the Taco Bell menu, and then after 40 years of having it on the menu, Taco Bell announced that they were taking it away and putting it from their new menu. A change.org petition garnered nearly 175,000 votes to bring back the Mexican pizza. On March 9th, the rapper Doja Cat shared a song with her 23.5 million TikTok followers asking for the return of the Mexican pizza.
I love her.
The pleas ended on May 19th. The reinstating to the menu, the Mexican pizza will be reinstated to the menu on May 19th nationwide.
Oh.
Bad play.
So a month from yesterday.
Yeah.
Bad
March,
play.
April, yeah.
Yeah.
I was never a big Taco Bell guy. Never fell into the trap.
Not that I was a big one, but every time I went, I got a Mexican pizza.
I got
sure.
a bean burrito
For sure.
mostly.
Bean
Because it was like
burrito?
fat free. That was like in high school.
You know what I loved at Taco Bell, which was
Fat-free.
kind of like
Yeah, right?
was kind of an off the menu, was the double decker pizza, where they did the soft and the hard shell combined
like
with one another. It was kind of like chips on a
Crunchwrap
sandwich.
Supreme.
Yeah.
That would be, that's you all over the place.
All over the place. I used to get 2 double deckers and a Mexican pizza.
Sober as can be.
No chives.
We don't have them anyway.
Those aren't chives. Sean Payton was speaking yesterday for the first time since really being
I think
away
so.
as a New Orleans Saints. He was on Chris Long's podcast, which was a fantastic listen. And Brady was, and Payton was actually telling a story about Brady on the Chris Long podcast. Yesterday, he was pressed a little bit about the Miami Dolphins, Tom Brady story. And in true Sean Payton fashion, he answered, "I have no clue about the Tampa Bay Miami Dolphins Tom Brady rumor. I understand that there is a request put in to the intermediaries, and they talking about the Saints and the Dolphins talk. So the Dolphins called the Saints asking for permission to talk to Sean Payton, but Payton had no idea that this was going on. Right? What's next? Brady's going to tell me that this is all news to him." Nah, I had no idea. This was actually the media asking the questions to Payton because Tampa Bay was trying to throw a little bit of water on that fire yesterday morning, just kind of by, shoving down the rumors that Brady was going to Miami. But Payton just called it some off-season chatter that was not going to ever come to fruition. Said he's working, trying to land a TV gig, and always said if he ever was going to coach this season, he always told the media that it was going to be in New Orleans. Believe what you want here, but there is no way that the Boston Globe is reporting what they are reporting if there is not a little bit of smoke to the story of Payton, Brady, all going down to South Beach, joining the Dolphins, going to give a piece of ownership to Tom Brady. All that stuff seemed like it was aligned. But Payton yesterday, speaking for the first time, was in total denial mode about that story, but he was very open in talking about Saints draft strategy, was cutting a couple of jokes on Dennis Allen and his ability now to be in that spot. And was also talking yesterday after a win on the celebrity Pro-Am Celebrity Tour yesterday at the Zurich Classic, as he was able to win. His partner was Boomer, Chris Berman from ESPN.
What a partnership. We talk about some booze going back with those two.
Great
My
stories.
God, absolutely.
Great stories.
But I mean, I would imagine Sean Payton should have won with what he's done. If he wasn't talking to anybody in Miami, I bet he was out at the golf course quite a bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
in
he
fact,
should have expected to win.
On Long's podcast, he's doing the podcast as he's driving to the golf course.
He's totally retired.
Yes, he was. I mean, it's out. He's got this, he's got this air to him now. He's got this tone in his voice now where it's like, it's all good. Everything's all good. There's no stress. There's no concern. There's no worry. I would have loved to have seen Sean Payton coach Drew Brees and Tom Brady in the city of New Orleans. If that would have happened, that would have been magical, man. And it looks like Brady and Payton are trying to find one another at some altar somewhere and marry each other. They're just looking for a place in a city that they can pull this off. I wouldn't even put the nail in the coffin on this deal.
I wouldn't either, but with that said, do you think if he does end up linking up with Tom Brady, it tarnishes his legacy in New Orleans at all? Or does it matter where they link up? Like if it's an NFC South team, if it's the Falcons, something like that, would it take like something that drastic for Saints fans to be like, I'm done with Sean Payton?
I don't know how you could ever write off Sean Payton. He brought the city a Super Bowl.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Sean Payton will ever. I think that's a lot like Nick Saban. I don't know how, the true LSU football lovers can never really hate Saban. You can never really hate him because he's opened your eyes to the blueprint and the formula if you want to be a consistent winner, what you need to do. Sean Payton has given you the key and unlocked the strategy to make the New Orleans Saints franchise relevant and a winner. Consistency and do that consistent. For that, the city will be
eternally grateful,
eternally indebted to him. Grateful goes without saying. They're in debt to Sean Payton because if nobody recalls what the Saints were before Payton showed up. Now, granted, it's been 17 years since the guy has taken the job. So there is a generation of fans that have no idea the struggles that the Saints went through. And look, man, I'm from Baton Rouge. Growing up here, you're primarily an LSU fan, but you take on being a Saints fan just because of pure proximity, right? And the fact that they're right down the road. And my grandfather had season tickets for years. So it was routine on a Friday night. We'd go to a Catholic high football game. On a Saturday night, we'd be in Tiger Stadium. On Sunday, we'd be waking up early to go down to the cathedral for Mass and then going to the Dome. I mean, that was in the fall. Those were a lot of the ways that we spent weekends. So you felt the Saints' passion in the Superdome during those days, but you also felt in those drives home listening to Buddy D, and listening to my grandfather bitch and complain about what he saw. It felt like you were a million miles away from ever being a winner. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there was some Sundays where you'd go down there and you'd win, sometimes unexpectedly, or get into a game with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, and the New Orleans Saints would go back and forth with those San Francisco teams with the Dome Patrol. But, ultimately they were never going to cross over the hump and win a championship. Payton made the franchise believe and put the strategies in place to where New Orleans, at a peak of his time as being the head coach for the Saints, New Orleans was probably one of the most desirable cities in the league to free agents. Not only because of the culture and what happens in the city, I'm talking about because of what Sean Payton had created in that locker room. He had become such a player-demanding yet player-friendly coach. That's such a fine line to try and walk. And when you see people try to do it, it's very cringy. it could be very cringy. Somebody that wants to be cool with the guys, but has to tell them to shut the fuck up. And Sean Payton was a master at that, where he could get you to laugh, joke, smile, maybe build a handshake with him on the sideline, but then he'd cut your ass on Monday if you didn't follow up with what you were supposed to do. And he would do it with the blood pressure of a serial killer. I mean, like, it came very easy for him. So I don't know how the Saints could ever turn on Sean Payton. The city could ever turn on Payton. I mean, Payton did some fucked up shit while he was here, man.
Well, he was one of us, yeah.
No doubt. I mean, that's kind of made you fall in love with him early on. I mean, he was out of control. I mean, he was wild.
And still winning.
Yeah.
Still winning. Always prepared. You know what I mean? Like,
he was living a double life.
And maybe it was some of the karma off the field that caught him, on the field in some of those championship runs. But I mean, if you go back to the Super Bowl podium, Breeze and Payton are up there, and either Breeze or Payton, I believe maybe even both of them, are mic'd up. And when Payton grabs Breeze's neck, I mean, the first thing he says to him is, "Tonight's going to be incredible." You know what I mean? Like, that's where his head is, you know what I mean? Like, we're getting
party
down tonight.
Called the guy.
And I mean, like the story goes, I mean, he was almost the first NFL coach in the history of the Super Bowl to miss the winning head coach's press conference, which comes Monday morning at like 7 a.m. Because the press is trying to leave town. Like, that's the reason why, Peyton was like, "I'm not going." And the NFL was like, "Buddy, you gotta go." He's like, "I ain't going." In his book, this back and forth is incredible. And he shows up to the press conference holding the trophy with sunglasses on, chewing gum. Like, he's fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't smell my breath.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, like, he's like laid back on the thing. And then that's the famous picture that comes out after that press conference. They board the plane and get back to New Orleans, and he's like snoring in the seat with the Lombardi.
That's when they needed a Zoom call. He's like, "Yeah, I'll zoom in, but I'm not going to any presser for you people. Thank you."
Rob Boudreaux, let Peyton go to Atlanta or Dallas and win and see how much people still love him. I get it.
Yeah.
Because there's a generation of people that are, 20, 25 years old, that know. I mean, really, that's kind of the peak of your fandom.
You don't know losing.
You don't know losing, and the standard has been set, and it's always been Sean Payton, right? I mean, like, it's always been that guy. For the people that remember Jim Haslett, Jim Mora, and Mike Ditka, you know what I mean? Like, those are that's not how it's always been. And what Payton created is something that, I understand that the newest generation of Saints fans could probably be pissed off if he even takes the Dallas job, just because it'll feel like he's cheating on you.
Well, Brady feels a little bit like cheating.
What do you mean?
Just because of the Breeze Brady, like how many battles they had. That's always who they were facing. Whenever it was always a premier matchup, and it always felt you want him to feel the same way that you did towards Tom Brady. You wanted him to hate him, but it feels like they are in lockstep with each other. And like you said, I don't think this is even close to over.
No, it's not. And
I wish Brady would come to the Saints.
And what I learned, me too. And they wanted to.
And he would still be here, and so would Sean Payton.
No doubt about it. They'd be winning, bro.
That'd be crazy.
Like, they'd be winning Super Bowls.
It would have been Tom Brady and Sean Payton versus Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Pick one.
Who would you pick?
I would pick Brady right now.
Yeah.
To win, or which one I wanted to win?
No, I mean, I know what you mean. I mean, Burrow forever, bro.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're Brady in the short term, especially in the black and gold.
Oh, what was that?
Nothing.
What's that?
It's
Nothing.
crude.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by our friends over at Johnson Spillers, our official dentist over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. Get in touch with our friends over at Johnson Spillers. If you need anything from dental work today, just general dental work, or if you need pediatric dental work, if you need a tooth implant, which they called and said that the final model is back.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just putting off getting shot up in the mouth again.
That's got to be something that you
gotta
can't
get
now
mentally
that
prepared for it
now
now.
that you've done it so many times, you have to be
I
like, I definitely don't like it. it's not going to go.
But now you're used to it.
I don't know, but the pain,
Just do
know
it.
what you're stepping into. It's
I
like,
know.
I don't know. It's like a 2-a-day. So you're just like,
It sucks.
I don't want to have to do this, but I have to.
Yeah.
It'll be better for it.
You're
gonna look great.
It sucks. I appreciate it.
It will look great.
Prepara Avenue out in Gonzales and Perkins Road over here in Baton Rouge. A couple of locations. Make sure and tell them you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Johnson Spiller's Dentistry, the official dentist here of the Jordy Culotta Show. We come back. We'll talk to Perry Berry, the dad of Jacob Berry, who's a standout here at LSU. Transferred over with Jay Johnson. We'll ask Perry what he knows and what his thoughts are. Not what he knows, but just his thoughts on Jay Johnson, how they ended up at Arizona, and then followed the coach over here to Baton Rouge. We'll ask Perry about his experiences in South Louisiana in 1990 as he was a part of the Cajuns program, and we'll ask him the outlook for such a talented player like his son, who seems very robotic in his swing. It almost looks so natural that it looks unnatural at times for Jacob Berry. We'll ask him the work and what it took to get there to his dad and his old man, Perry Berry, when we come back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, which is always driven by Go Chevrolet. Stop in and see our friends over at Go Chevrolet today. LaPlace, they've got new car lot out there right off of I-10, and then right here in Baton Rouge for a used car model. Stop and see them at Go Express Auto Sales on Sherwood and Florida Boulevard. Always online, GEAUX, Chevrolet.com, GEAUX, Chevrolet.com. We'll be back with some LSU baseball discussion right after this on the Jordy Culotta Show. Southern Eye Centers, where their passion is caring for eyes. It's what they... Shout out to Tom Granning from everybody over here at FM Digital Media, as he is our fuel sponsor. Whether it's fuel cards or snacks, he's keeping us going every day at FM Digital Media. If you're out on Highway 61, make sure and stop in and see him over at Go-Mart. It is located in Natchez, Mississippi. It is our favorite convenience store, and it's for our guy Tom Granning, who supports us every day over here at FM Digital Media. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. We are linking up with our guy, and
What? You know what day it is.
we're going to link up with our guy here,
Peregrine.
Perry
From,
Barry.
Pineapple Express.
What's going on, bro?
Perriman.
420, bro.
420.
What is he wearing? What kind of question?
They're the pants in Pineapple Express at the drug dealer house. He wears them all, yeah.
Okay.
I plan more than people think. What a day.
What a day.
Long day.
Heads up, Coach. We're live. Okay. I just don't know.
Like,
I just don't know. I just don't know how. Yeah, right.
And?
Not a cloud in the
Well,
sky.
get a shot of Stewie's shirt, please. Stewie, show your shirt.
Show your shirt.
Show your shirt.
Stay with your chest.
It's Rico. Still no chest, Rico. Still no chest.
YouTube fingers.
YouTube fingers.
Stevie's put him on blast at the chat.
No, I love it.
He's losing all of his arguments.
Yeah, he's losing.
been
And
exploited.
everybody's against him now.
He really has been exposed. It's almost kind of sad at this point.
Tough day for the guy.
It is.
He'll come back with a different name. Sometimes you just got to burn it.
All right, we're looking forward to our conversation with Perry Barry coming up here. We got him?
No.
Okay. not yet.
Don
Oh,
said
okay.
headset throwing time. Linking
No,
up.
no.
Headset throwing
No,
time.
we're good.
I think we're good. No, he can't be mad today.
Nah. Watch me.
But, that would be sad.
Fail on this Perry Barry and see what happens.
Oh my
I'll
God.
blame it right on Perryman.
Resend the email to Perry, please.
Peregrine.
Peregrine. P. Barry.
Hang on.
P. Barry at. Well, I'm not going to say it, but
Yeah.
the one that,
Give it out to
Yeah,
everyone.
the one.
that you put in the document.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to forward it to him again. Send.
Anybody going to the Zurich?
We were invited to go Friday and Sunday, but I don't know if I can swing it because of kids stuff.
I would have loved to have gone. Have you ever done? I've gone.
have.
It's
I've
a lot
gone a
of
couple
fun.
I've worked the event twice. One of the coolest things I've ever done. We were on the right when I first got the job over at the radio station. They put a couple of us young salesmen on like a junior committee part of the. Who puts it on? It's the Zurich class. There is a 4Kids Foundation.
Oh,
Sorry,
yes, yeah.
They put you on the 4Kids Foundation, and the 4Kids Foundation really like does a lot of the volunteer work for Zurich, and everybody had to do a job, and the one that routinely went unsigned up for, which I have no idea how, was a driver. Like you would go pick up the players, bring them back to the course, vice versa. If they needed to get back to the hotel after their round, you were just shuttling, and you were like doing it like in like big body Lexuses.
That's
because
what
like
you
that
did?
was like the complimentary car of the tournament. You know what I mean? So I'm like, huh? I'm like, I'm not coming back. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, like they had all of these availabilities on it because for whatever reason, people were like, I don't like to leave the tournament. I'm like, huh?
Oh, they probably like really like golf.
Yeah, like really like golf, or like they just like really like the social aspect of
Yeah.
it because it's a very, I mean,
Well, I guess you're trying
the
to be a
hardest thing.
salesman.
The hardest thing to do is to watch the golf tournament.
Well, yeah, I never
Yeah.
watched the golf. I couldn't care less about watching the golf. I go there to socialize.
Yeah,
eat the food
I mean,
and drink
like
the
in that
drink.
17th hole tee, the Acme
The
tee,
par three?
I mean, the tent on 17 is like, I mean, it's like a club.
Two,
I
two.
mean, like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, nobody's watching the golf, which, you know what I mean? I'm kind of a fish out of water end. So I'm like, dude, I can drive back and like go back and forth. So I'm like picking these guys up like in the quarter, you know, and sometimes like their family is like hopping in and we're like making the rides. I mean, I probably made conservative 50 rides that week.
Jeez.
I see a gorgeous Perry Barry right now.
All right, I'll get back to the story. I'll come back to it. But it's a great event. All right, we are going to link up with Jacob's father, Jacob Barry's dad, who obviously is the standout down here in Baton Rouge. It was huge news when Jacob was transferring in. It was big news when Jay Johnson got the job. It was huge news that he was bringing along Jacob Barry along with him. And then you start to do a little digging on Jacob and find out he's got South Louisiana ties because of his old man spent a year down here in 1990 with the Lafayette baseball program. And then you follow those guys on social media and you keep up with it. Now we have a chance to link up with Jacob's dad, Perry Berry, here on this Wednesday morning. Mr. Berry, thank you very much for your time. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well. Doing very well.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah.
Yeah. Last night had to be a cool experience, right?
Yeah. It was great. We had a few friends over and we watched the game, and it's kind of awkward pulling for both teams. You want your son to do well. You want LSU to do well, but you also are getting heat from my Cajun buddies who are pulling for the Cajuns down there at the same time. So
before we get to Jacob, and obviously we want to talk a lot about LSU's stud that they have now in over here with the baseball team. Tell me about your story and how you ended up there. Obviously, it was 1 year that you spent in Lafayette, but reading up on you and just kind of following up on Jacob and reading through his career, it looks as if Louisiana had a hell of an impact on you. How did you get here, and what does the state mean to you?
Yeah, so a real short version of my long story is I'm from Southwest Colorado. I ended up going out of high school to Oral Roberts University. I went over there, redshirt my first year. I was drafted out of high school. My dad says, go to college. Went to college, redshirt my first year. Second year, we had a great ball club, and with 6 or 7 games left in the regular season, the NCAA starts an inquiry over some alleged illegal violations with the basketball program. So the program was dropped with 6 or 7 games left in the general season. And so we went through, we had, I think, 2 All-Americans. We were in a kind of a top 10 type program. We had a really good club that year. So anyway, went through recruiting again and had a lot of connections from Oklahoma that went down to the University of Southwest Louisiana. At the time, it was, as you know, a USL. Yes. And so Coach Bollinger had connections to Oklahoma. I went down there. I went on a visit and loved it was just a great culture. You know, you live there, I'm assuming, right there in that area. And it's just the people are hospitable. They're just great people, great culture, very friendly. And, you know, I like to hunt fish. There's a lot of that to do down there. And so that's kind of my story and how I got down there. And, you know, that's kind of the same answer to your second part of your question was the impact it had on me was just I had some close friends on the team and in the community that I've kept in close relationships with over the past 20, 30 years. And you know, it's kind of cool because when this all came down with Coach Johnson going down from U of A to LSU, all my buddies were starting to text me and call me and, hey, you think Jacob's going to follow him down there? So one thing led to another. And so that's kind of how it all happened. And, you know, Jacob is a good ball player and he's a good kid. And I know he makes mistakes, but he's overall a pretty darn good kid. But he's a loyal kid. And one thing you need to know about Jacob is he's super loyal. And so Coach Johnson was one of the first, I would say, Power 5 coaches that really expressed belief in Jacob at a young age, probably his freshman year. And so Jacob never forgot that. And so when he took the job at LSU, he was more committed to Coach Johnson than he was the U of A and those great program, great tradition at U of A, but he loved Coach Johnson. That's why he left.
Perry, you still look like you can knock it around and probably bat 300, or at least throw 300 up. I mean, good Lord, the shoulders on this guy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I look big in this phone. This phone makes me look bigger than
it's a great angle.
Don't get rid of the phone then.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So take me back to Jacob's story because I think, you know, LSU is still almost the fan base is almost still trying to you know, realize who he is, kind of introduce themselves to him. But he came in with such high accolades and such a special player. And you hear Coach Johnson talk about him. What's his story? How did he end up at Arizona? How did he end up in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, so, you know, of course I'm biased, but I'm a dad of Jacob. But I would say I always felt like Jacob had a hit tool that was, you know, not a lot of people recognize it, even in Arizona. Like, I don't, you know, there's a lot of rating systems out there, and he wasn't the most highly rated kid in Arizona. But you knew the kid was going to hit at some point. The kid just he's got the right attitude. He's got great plate discipline, great plate coverage, just a tremendous hitter both sides of the plate. So you knew that was coming. You just didn't know if he could play a position, where he would play. But anyway, I feel like when he got to U of A, Coach Johnson took his skill set to a whole new level. As a true freshman, as you probably know, with the COVID seniors and all those upperclassmen on these clubs, it's really hard for an incoming true freshman to break a lineup period at a program like U of A, much less contribute the way Jacob did. And I attribute all that to Coach Johnson. And so anyway, he was fairly highly touted. As soon as U of A started recruiting him, a few other Pac-12 schools got involved and tried to recruit him. He had some offers to a couple SEC places. But at the end of the day, they really didn't know Jacob. He was kind of a diamond in the rough, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
But when he went to U of A and, he had a great year. He really had an impact on that program, hit in the middle of the lineup. And, of course, he was an All-American in several polls. And he didn't really play a position, as you probably heard. He was just a DH last year. But I feel like that got him into that USA College national team. And then from there, he just tore it up the summer. I went and watched a few games, some of the best arms and potential in the country. And he just looks like he hits better against that kind of pitching. And so then, he's got a name for himself, and he's receiving all these accolades and all this attention. And that's kind of how he's transformed his reputation in the game of baseball.
Coach, Perry, I talked to a couple of coaches, and when they talk about his swing, they speak of it almost as this perfect swing of baseball. When I've spoke to a couple of people about it, and it's almost as if they're talking about like a spiritual experience. The people that really love baseball, when they're breaking down his swing, they can't stop talking about it. From somebody that has your experience and obviously his father, how good is his swing? It almost looks robotic.
Yeah, I'll
take credit.
Listen, my role, I'm going to be very honest. I worry about any dad or any one person who's taken full credit for their kid's development. And I've certainly played a small role in Jacob's development. I set a foundation for Jacob. I worked with him on some just basic bat path type stuff as a young kid. Made him switch hit, of course, and just real fundamental stuff. And then I think the thing that you're describing in my mind is he's got a very what I would call a low maintenance swing. It's very simple. There's not a lot of moving parts, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so when something goes wrong, it's really easy for him to make a quick adjustment. And we knew that had to be the case for Jacob to be a good switch hitter. You can't have too many things to monitor and fix on both sides, or you can't keep on top of both swings on both sides of the plate, because you're basically two different hitters, as a right-handed hitter and a left-handed hitter. And so I feel like Jacob has really made himself a solid, powerful hitter that tries to do damage. He can hit for average and hit for power, and it's a fairly easy swing to keep on top of. And my role in that was, listen, that guy, I have 4 kids, and Jacob, I have 3 of my kids have worn me out. I've thrown more damn batting practice to these kids. I'm probably going to need a surgery here pretty soon. But Jacob was always a kid that wanted to go hit. And then he was done. He wanted another bucket of balls. And I was like, Jacob, we got 3 other kids to throw to. I need to save some strength for these kids. But he loves the grind. He loves the work. He likes the difficulty of the game. Hitting's hard, and Jacob loves that part of the game. And I think that's his mindset. I used to tell my kids when they were little, I was like, there's one thing, there's one thing that all good hitters have in common, whether you're in the big leagues or in college, and it is that they believe that they can hit. And you know that about great hitters. They're very confident. Yeah. And the game of baseball can take that confidence away from you. And I really feel like Jacob feels like and believes he's the best hitter in the country. And that's something that he's worked on from the mental side of the thing, and Coach Johnson is a real expert in that area. I feel like that's really what's helped Jacob blossom the most.
I know he didn't have the night that he wanted last night, but even on an 0 for night, to look up and his average is still over 350 gives you an idea of the talent that he has. Coach, you know Jay Johnson from just a recruiting standpoint, and your son plays for him.
Yeah.
LSU baseball carries itself, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, as kind of Alabama football, Kentucky basketball. They think of themselves in that vein as far as the historical context of the program and the sport. How do you see Jay Johnson's methods coming to a place that is so big in the size and scope, and what are his strong suits from somebody that has known him through recruiting and has played a season with Jacob under his direction?
Yeah, there's no question that LSU baseball's, it's got a tremendous reputation, high expectations, and I feel like Coach Johnson's the perfect fit. Of course, I'm biased toward him, but just to say a few things, high-level things about Coach Johnson is I think he's one of the best recruiters in the country. You're going to find out pretty soon that you're going to start seeing a whole new level of talent come in from the pitching staff, position players across the board. There's going to be high competition with high-quality players that I feel like he's just so well connected, and he builds great relationships with kids at a very young age. And I think that's the key ingredient to recruiting. It's all about relationships, and Coach Johnson's very good at that. I also feel like Coach Johnson, Jacob is a good example of this. Jacob, he could have been drafted out of high school. He could have got pretty good money out of high school. But we feel like the value of Jacob's experience with Coach Johnson and the University of Arizona and now with LSU is going to make Jacob better as a baseball player, but also a player off the field. And I feel like that's something that brings great players to Coach Johnson's program. From a baseball side of your question about he's a developer. He pays attention to details. He's competitive, but he understands that the game is about confidence, and he's very big into the mental side of hitting and pitching. And I feel like that really helps those young players. These are high stress games with a lot of people watching, high expectations. And I feel like he keeps kids on even playing field, if that makes sense. But, he's obviously, we're biased, and that's why Jacob went down there. We love Coach Johnson and his wife, and they've been good for our kid. And I feel like, when your son, you're happy that your son is a good baseball player, but you really are more worried about what kind of kid he's going to become out in the community. And I feel like Jacob's benefited from Coach Johnson's leadership down there in that aspect just as much. So,
a couple of more minutes here with Perry Berry sharing us a couple of stories with us in his time here on this Wednesday morning. Very much appreciate that. When you look at the college baseball game and where it is, and you mentioned how Jacob had some opportunities coming out of high school that he could have made some significant money and could have expedited his professional career. When you look at the advantages of college baseball and what it provides a high-end prospect like Jacob, where do you see the benefits of it?
Yeah, I kind of touched on that in my previous answer. I would say that when you go to the minor leagues, you're going to get great instruction, great development opportunities, pretty good competition at times, depending on where you're at and what level and everything like that. But I feel like if you can trust the college experience, you're going to get the same type of development opportunity. But you're going to play in games of significance. In the minor leagues, you really don't have an opportunity to play in those packed house. I just got back from Arkansas the week before my wife and I went out to Mississippi State. 14,000 people there, ringing cowbells. Those are games of significance that bring a whole new culture to the ball game, and you can never experience and feel that in the minor leagues for a long time. I feel like you get there and possibly in the big leagues, but there is no substitute for that type of feel for a player. And I feel like that's an added element that's going to help these kids. If you can understand that, development in baseball is part physical, part emotional, all of that matters. And so I feel like the college game has a lot of added value to a kid's development, if that makes sense.
I've got Perry being short for Perriman in the room. I'd imagine that it'd taken a pretty bold dude to pick on you as a kid. Has it always been Perry Berry?
Yeah, it's always been Perry Berry. And listen, I've got...
What's on the birth certificate?
Perry Jerry Berry.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Oh my God, that was gonna make my year.
You blew our mind. You blew our mind.
Awesome.
Perfect day to do that.
You blew our mind.
Jerry Berry.
You guys ever heard that Johnny Cash song, "A Boy Named Sue"?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just got back from the Johnny Cash Museum. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of that's how it felt growing up with Perry Berry as my name. I was always fighting because people were teasing me about my name. And
that's amazing.
Is it short for Perriman?
No, it's just
I think it's just Perry.
Perry Berry.
Just
My
Perry.
mom had a sense of humor, I guess. And,
That's great.
yeah,
That is great.
yeah. I always tease people about my middle name. It's really not Jerry, though.
That's a great joke.
Or it could be, and you could just keep saying
That's
this.
right. I want it to
That's
be.
a great.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you real quick. You talked about making your son a switch hitter. What age did you do that, and did you anticipate how many fights I would imagine came from that, or did he really grasp it?
Yeah, a lot of fights in the batting cage with me and my kids, all 4 of them. A lot of arguments, a lot of hard times. But yeah, Jacob, I made him start for every right-handed cut he took. I'd make him take just as many left-handed cuts. And, he dabbled with it for a while. It was when he was 13 or 14 years old, we were in a big tournament here in the Valley. And I noticed that he was struggling left-handed and would come up in a big situation in a tight game. He wouldn't hit left-handed, so he'd get in the right side, hit right-handed. He was a little more comfortable over there and confident. And so we had a buddy by the name Jackie Tucker. Jackie's the dad of Cole and Carson Tucker, 2 first-rounders from Mountain Point. Wow. Good friend of mine. And Jackie's one of the coaches for my club team, one of the assistant coaches. And Jackie gave me an earful as a dad. He said, "That's bleepity bleep. This is about development. If you're going to do it, do it. If you're not, just don't dabble with it." And he kind of gave Jacob an earful as well. And so from that point on, Jackie, I tell people all the time, Jackie Tucker gave us an earful and told us to trust the process. And from that point on, no matter how comfortable he was or wasn't, he was a switch hitter, a true switch hitter. And I felt like over time, you can see just for your own eyes that he looks good left-handed.
He does.
He looks sometimes a little bit out of sync, a little bit right-handed, but he's actually probably going to be a better right-handed hitter, in my opinion, as a dad. He just doesn't get as many at-bats over there. Yeah. He's got great power from the right side. He just doesn't see a lot of left-handed pitchers. And so it's hard to stay adjusted. But when you see the kid face a lot of lefties and balance with the right-handed pitchers, you'll start to see what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's kind of his story. I always struggled. I was a pretty good fastball hitter. I could not hit anything off speed or breaking balls, anything moving away from me. So I was like, man, if I'm going to do this, I might try to help my kids by making them a switch hitter. I always felt like that might play to their advantage, and it has. My younger son, Jet Berry, he's an 8th grader. And yeah, he's a good kid. And he's a ball player too. He's a good ball player. Real fast.
2028.
Yeah. This kid, he's a switch hitter as well. And right now I'm looking at his left-handed swing. I'm like, it looks a little bit sweeter than his right-handed swing. It's weird how the left-handed swing just looks better.
Wow. The berry tree, the gift that keeps on giving. We'll be back for Jet. You better believe it. Perry, got to be a tough day to be a Suns fan. Go Pels, baby. Uh-oh. How about it?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it'll be sad around here.
Yeah.
We're a little bit worried about, I heard that Booker might have pulled his hamstring too.
You hate to hear it.
That'd be a hell of a storyline.
Yeah.
Mr. Berry, thank you for waking up with us. I know that it is earlier out there. For whatever reason, time zones throw us a curveball, especially in the state of Arizona, but I know that you're 2 hours behind us. Thank you for the time this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys, and hope go Tigers.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. There he is, Perry Berry, checking in this morning from what looks like he's about to head into a board meeting, right? I mean, he looks like he's about to.
I'm going to a meeting.
There he is.
Absolutely.
Playing hooky right now.
See you later, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. There he is.
Thank you. Bye.
That was a great
Perry
story.
Jerry, that was awesome.
Perry Jerry Berry had
Perry
the whole
Jerry
room.
Berry.
I mean, that was a comedian's type reaction. Like,
I love that he said that.
That was great.
How many times do you think he's played that card?
Man, that's a great cocktail. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Kind of probably great for the boardroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sorry, I was late. That was good stuff, man. Jacob Berry's father, Perry Berry, checking in this morning for a couple of minutes with us and good stories. Jet Berry.
Jet Berry sounds like a
We're
player.
in.
Was it Jet or Chet?
He said Jet.
Okay.
I think he said Jet.
No, he
can't
said
go
Jet.
Chet. There's
No,
no
I
Chets
know.
anymore.
Especially the names like
Sounded
Perry.
like
I mean,
Chet.
bro.
We got to break the mold.
By the time the last one's coming up, you're like, we got a couple of killers.
I got a baller.
Got a couple of killers.
We go easy with the Jake Berry.
Jacob, Jacob's a player. But let me tell you about Jet.
Yeah. I think he's fast.
Jet's hitting 350 in 8th grade on both sides of the plate.
It is Jet. Jet. Jet.
Could
Nice.
you? I mean, if you're playing little league against Jet and he bats on both sides, your coach going, oh shit, they
Walking
got a
up with eye
player.
black.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eye black and spikes.
And you see Perry over there with his barrel chest. What a family.
That was great. They got O'Doyle.
Nice O'Doyles.
Yeah, nice O'Doyles. Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Remember them, CajunRMC.com. Get in touch with our friends over there if you've got a project. Industrial, residential, municipal, they can help you out today. CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com is the website. Find them there. Get in touch with them about any size project that you may have. Cajun Ready Mix Concrete has 9 locations, 9 concrete plant locations around the city. What does that mean to you? Is that if you order concrete or if you need it, it's going to be to the project on time and to the exact specification. Get in touch with Cajun Ready Mix today online at CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com. Stick around. Mikey Matuk's going to be here at 11 o'clock this morning for the latest edition of Mic'd Up. And then come back with us at 1:15 this afternoon from the Jordy Culotta Show channel. We'll have Malik Neighbors, standout wide receiver from actually Mikey's part of the state from Youngsville over there, just outside of Lafayette. Malik Neighbors will be by here in the 1 o'clock hour today on the Jordy Culotta Show. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. We appreciate it. We also just got confirmation that Landon Ibieta will join us tomorrow morning at 7:30. The Mandeville wide receiver who is coming in next season with intentions to play is going to stop in here tomorrow on the Jordy Culotta Show. So we will talk to one of the incoming freshmen in Landon Ibieta tomorrow on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and set that alert. If you have not been subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure and do that for us. We appreciate it very much. Have a good Wednesday. Mikey Matuk's Mic'd Up, 11 o'clock. Jordy Culotta Show, 1 o'clock, 1:15 this afternoon. Then back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. All compliments and driven by Go Chevrolet. For the Carpool Queen, Lloyd, Stewie, and everybody a part of the Jordy Culotta Show, have a great day.
Happy 420.
Happy
420.
Happy
420. Happy 420. Cool. Was that a bong?
It was.
Sound like that.
Are you still there?